In simple words, a small change somewhere can cause a large change somewhere else. A child who grew alone and unaware of his heritage or the legacy that he carried might become a world savior in some reality. But what happens when someone holds the hand of a child rejected by the very place he is protecting? What happens when a child is trained to wield his legacy? A world where whirlpools were disciplined and storms became playthings. A world where a small change caused a great ripple in the fate of the world, and it all began with a prank. It started off as another day in Naruto's life. Got up and had ramen for breakfast, went to academy, and had a fight with Sasuke. After the academy, he went to train some more, and after that he decided it has been some time since he last played a huge prank on the villagers. There were of course some small happenings here and there, but nothing huge and grand, and he had an idea exactly what to do. Something strange occurred today. After Naruto painted the Hokage monument again, and in a grand spectacle when he announced himself as the perpetrator. The Chunin started chasing him, but they were more vicious this time. Instead of giving up after an hour or two, they kept searching for him, and there were no more places to hide. So he started running and kept running and running for as long as he could keep it up. Once he was sure that they were not chasing him anymore, it was already dark and rain was also starting. He had no idea where he was. It was a cold night, and he needed to go back to the village as soon as possible. The only problem was he didn't know where in the world he was. He kept running, and now he didn't know where he ended up getting. While Naruto searched for a way back to Konoha, he found an old shrine or a temple instead in the forest. It was very old and had a huge symbol on its door and above it. It was the same symbol that every Konoha shinobi wears. Naruto himself has this symbol on his clothes. Maybe he should spend the night here and search for Konoha tomorrow. It was not like anyone was waiting for him at home. The very thought drained Naruto of all his remaining energy, and he decided that he would spend the night here in this old-looking shrine. The moment Naruto entered the shrine, he knew something was off about this place. It was not creepy, but kind of gave a vibe that said stay away from here. But Naruto felt that he was safe here, safer than he was in Konoha. The place had a lot of drawings on the walls. From the inside, the place was very well like someone was taking care of it. There was no dust or even cracks in the wall. There were many scrolls here too, which Naruto might read later because they might have some super techniques. There was a huge stone table in the middle like an altar. But the most weird thing was the masks that were lined up on the wall. There were a total of 10 of these masks. All were equally creepy, but among them there were two that interested Naruto the most. The Tengu mask and the one which looked like some sort of monster. Naruto went ahead and took the Tengu mask, and the moment he did, a large wave of energy was sent from it. All the walls lit up, and there was a strange feeling inside of him too, like something was calling him. A smell of salt and sand filled him. He saw visions of a land far away from here, of peoples that were like him, but he never met, of the ocean, storms, and whirlpools. His hand moved on his own, and he placed the mask on. His tears suddenly started forming in his eyes as the feeling of longing filled him and his world turned upside down. Maybe Naruto should have stayed away from that place, or he should have gone straight to sleep. But this small decision here to visit the shrine changed Naruto and his destiny and the destiny of the entire shinobi world. Whether it be good or bad, only time will tell. This is the tale of Naruto Uzumaki, the prince of the ocean, of storms and whirlpools. And it all started with a prank. Naruto was 5 when the orphanage kicked him out and he was given his own apartment. He was 6 years old when he entered the academy, and he was 7 years old when he realized that everyone hates and fears him for some reason, whether they be children, adults, or even his teachers. The only one who shows any kind of affection toward Naruto is the Hokage, but even his visits got less and less as time went on, and now he only visits once a month to give him the monthly allowance. While the whole village hates him with a passion, they couldn't do anything to him because of some kind of fear, so they ignore him, refuse him services, and verbally assault him. There have been some physical accidents too, but Naruto learned very quickly he is not safe outside his apartment after 7. He thought long and hard about why they would treat him like this. Every day he asks himself why they would do this to him. Who were his parents and were they? Did they also hate him like the villagers? Did they abandon Hai because they didn't love him, or are they really dead like the Hokage says? And the only person he can ask this to refuses to answer. Demon that was written on his door when he returned from the academy. It was a word he often found associated with him. The Hokage wanted to remove it immediately, but he stopped him. What's the point of removing it? Someone will put it there again. It's not like he doesn't hear it at least 1,000 times a day. Now, whenever he goes out or comes back to his apartment, the word glares at him, saying no matter what he did, he will always be a demon. And now, when he is 9 years old, he finds out why he is a demon. Why do they hate him and who he really is? And it all started on that day. Hiruzen was old. It is a fact that he accepted long ago. He should be enjoying his retirement and guiding the next generation, but instead, he is Hokage once again because the village needed him, and as things stand, maybe only his death will free him from this seat. His second term as Hokage is filled with nothing but regrets, whether it be the Uchiha incident or the Kumo incident. Although he avoided war both times, he also had to lose innocent lives, all because of greed and a hunger for power. Sometimes he thought maybe things would have been different if Minato was here. He would have handled the situation better than him, but it was all just thoughts of an aging man, and thinking of Minato, he thought of his biggest failure, Naruto. He has failed the boy so much that he couldn't even face him now. Every time he visits, he is reminded of both his parents. The red and fiery hair gives the sense of Kushina, and his face is all Minato, especially the eyes. Whenever he visits, he is bombarded by the same questions. Where are my parents? Who are they? Why do they hate me? And he has no answers to give. So he keeps silent, hoping that with time the boy would stop questioning him the hard questions. And he does stop, and that gives him even more pain. The boy is smart like Minato, but with the personality of Kushina. He has inherited the best of both his parents. He was a happy and energetic child, pranking the villagers here and there, but as time went on, he became more and more subdued. His grades suddenly started improving, his ninja talents also took a shine, and now he is among the top students in the academy, only behind Sasuke, Uchiha the topper of the class. And that mask. How could he forget the mask that Naruto now wears everywhere he goes? He might even wear it when sleeping. The first time Hiruzen saw the mask, he knew it was not any ordinary mask that you could find in any toy shop in the village. It was different from all the masks that even Umbu wore to hide their identity. It gives a cold feeling like if you touch it, you'll regret it, and somehow Naruto isn't affected by it at all, and seems to like it a little too much. Some say that he has been possessed by the demon, and some are too afraid to say anything. People still avoid him like a plague, but instead of lashing out at them, Naruto too avoids them. Naruto's whole day consists of going to the academy and training. There is nothing in between. What could he even do when he has no friends to play with, no family to enjoy his free time with, so all he does is train with vigor never seen in it before. Hiruzen should be happy that Naruto is less problematic nowadays and focused on his studies, but all he feels is this foreboding feeling that they have lost Naruto completely. Instead of him being proud of Naruto's achievements in the academy, he just wants to stop the boy and ask him what is wrong with him, that he can trust him and tell him everything, but he even has lost that right. And it all started on that day. Irika always wanted to be a teacher, to guide the next generation and make sure that they not only became great ninjas, but also a good human being, and that's why he is always trying to improve both as a shinobi and as a person. This is the reason that he is thinking of doing something about Naruto's strange behavior. Some years ago, just like everyone else, he also avoided the boy like a plague, but not because he hated the Nine-Tails Fox, but because Naruto reminded him of himself. He also was a prankster and wanted to prove to everyone how great a ninja he would be, just like Naruto, and then that curse night came and changed him forever. He lost both his parents and became an orphan just like Naruto. So when he first became the sensei of Naruto's class, he made sure to avoid him completely, and Naruto tried again and again to prank him, to just get his attention, but he failed every time until it all stopped. Now Naruto doesn't prank anyone, doesn't cause any sort of trouble. He doesn't even bunk classes anymore. Naruto comes to the academy daily and on time. He studies hard and practices everything like his life is dependent on it, and slowly the results come from his hard work. Now Naruto is one of the top students with top grades and great skills. Not only his studies have improved, but his lifestyle too. He now brings lunch every day and is always something healthy. His clothes are always clean and of great quality for a ninja. His hygiene has also improved. On one hand, Irika is very proud of his student's sudden upgrade. Yes, he is proud of the demon kid. While on the other hand, he is also worried for him. Naruto has stopped talking to anyone in the class, even to Shikamaru or Kiba. No longer does he ask Sakura out on a date or challenge Sasuke for a fight. He just comes to the class, sits on the backside silently, does his work, and leaves. He has become so silent that if you don't search for him specifically, you wouldn't even know that he is even present in the class. And that weird mask that he wears now. First, he only wore it during lunch every day and after he was out of the academy, but now the mask is on 24/7. It is a weird-looking mask, and somehow Naruto has found it cool enough to be wearing it forever. His classmates even stopped making fun of it, because clearly Naruto wasn't affected by it at all. So now, as Irika sits in his class thinking of what to do with Naruto and his sudden strange behavior, somewhere a boy is being trained to fulfill his legacy: blood and tears. That was the last thing that Karen remembered of her mother. Blood poured out of her mouth as she took her last breath, and tears ran down her eyes as she looked at Karen one last time. As long as she could remember, her mother was the only person who loved her and cared of her. Her dad died while protecting her mother when she was pregnant from some shinobi who wanted to capture them. And after that, her mother took shelter in the hidden grass village, and the only thing they cared about was their special ability to heal others. And so they used her mother to heal others until she was nothing but a hollow puppet following their every order, and even then they didn't let her go. Only in death did she find her peace. On one hand, she was sad that her mother was dead, and on the other relieved that at least now she was free of her tormentors. After her mother died, Karen had fled the village so that she could escape the same fate as of her mother, but she was caught before she could even cross the border, and then he came. A man who is nothing like a human. A powerful and dangerous person who single-handedly killed all the shinobi chasing her. He looked at her and immediately knew that something was special about her, that she was an Uzumaki, and offered her refuge. He promised her power to defend herself, and in return, he only wanted her loyalty, but Karen's loyalty only lies with one person, and he doesn't need to know that. All Karen needs to do is survive and become strong enough to search. Search for the child that was promised, the child that Uzumaki believed will be born to avenge them and their clan. The child that would reunite the remaining clan and change the world. But until then, she would wait and preserve, and as her new master called her for a new mission, she remembered the tale her mother used to tell her every night, so that Karen knew where she belonged. The tale of the founder and the prince of storms and whirlpools. Flashback, Karen's POV. "Mother, are you all right?" Karen asked fearfully. As long as Karen can remember, her mother was sick, and with time her sickness seems to get worse and worse. "Yes, my dear child," her mother replied. "Is something bothering you, my love?" "I am afraid, mother. Afraid that you'll leave me like father did. What will I do without you? Please don't leave me alone," she cried to her mother. Her mother tried to speak, but again coughed some blood. Karen ran to give her some water. "Thank my child. Karen dear, never think for even a second that I will leave you. Maybe I won't be with you in the flesh, but my soul will always watch over you, and my love will always be with you." Karen melted at her mother's words. The dam of her eyes broke with full force. To even think of a world where her mother would not be there to love her, to protect her, scares her, and she lets it out to her mother, who promised her again and again that she would not be alone, that her parents would always watch over her. "Dear child, don't think too much of me dying. For other people, maybe death means the end, but for us who share the Uzumaki blood, death is nothing but a start to a new journey. Always remember that death is not our enemy, but our protector, and we are the children of death." Maybe Karen was so consumed in her grief that she might have heard wrong. Is her mother saying that death is their guardian? How absurd. If death was their protector, then why would it destroy her clan, take her parents away from her? Death was nothing but a curse to Uzumaki. You might think that now, my dear. Her mother replied to her inner thoughts like she was reading her like a book. I also thought of it after I lost you, father, that maybe instead of being our protector, all death does is take from us. Maybe we are not the children of death, but its sacrifice. But now that I'm taking my last breaths, I can hear its calling, the warmth of its embrace. Your father and my family are waiting for me, Karen, and the time has come for me to go. I can see that the All-Father has come to take me back to my clan, but before I go, I must tell you of something. Something very important, something that I have hidden from you for so long. You must understand what we are and what makes us special. You must understand your duty to the empty throne of Yuzushio and towards the child that was promised. The empty throne, the child that was promised, the All-Father, all of it is confusing Karen. Her mother looks very serious, like what she is about to tell Karen might be the secret of life itself. So Karen braces herself because these might be the last moments she spends with her mother, and she doesn't want to waste a single second. A long time ago, there was a man who fought a beast so powerful that it can bend nature to its will. Her mother started telling her a story with slow and steady breath, like she was clinging on to every one of them so that she can spend as much time with Karen as she can. And the beast wanted to destroy all of humanity, so to stop the beast, a man rose to fight it, and they fought for days, and the man finally defeated the beast by sealing it inside himself. That man is now commonly known as the Sage of Six Paths, and for some people he was a god. The sage traveled the world to preach his teachings and spread his religion of Ninshu. He was the person who gave us chakra and taught us how to use it. After establishing peace during his time, he settled down and had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. Indra, Ashura, and Devi, the 2 sons, and 1 daughter of the Sage of Six Paths. The Senju, Uchiha, and Uzumaki are all direct descendants of the sage. We are the children of his daughter, Devi, who instead of following the footsteps of her father like her brothers choose to follow her own path, and that led her to Lord Sosuke Aizen. Lord Aizen was part of a sect of gods who was responsible for guiding the souls to the next life, and they were known as the Shinigami. The Shinigami were gods who never interacted with humans because humans could not see their real form. All they saw whenever they looked at any Shinigami was a demon because the gods didn't want the death gods to interfere with humans, so they stayed away from them. But upon meeting Lord Aizen, Devi saw the real face of Lord Aizen, not the face of a demon, and that fascinated Lord Aizen. How can a human see his real self? And this fascination led Lord Aizen to Devi again and again. At first, they were only friends, Devi who wanted to explore this world and enjoy it for all it offers, and Lord Aizen who wanted to understand Devi, but in all of his years as a Shinigami, he never met a more free soul like that of Devi, and surely he became enchanted by her. They fell in love and started a family. Devi inherited chakra directly from the sage, and Lord Aizen was a god, so their children were also special. They inherited the strong chakra from their mother and the body from their father, and that is why Uzumaki have such a long life and strong life force. Lord Aizen was the one who taught his children the art of the sword and sealing. He loved his family more than his life. Slowly, he gained popularity among the common folk for his kind and helping nature, and people started looking past his demon self, and together they built a home for his family and his people, and that home is now known as Yuzushio. Lord Aizen and Lady Devi shared their power with all of Yuzushio. They taught them sealing and how to use chakra. Together they all lived a lovely and peaceful life as one big family. But for all the powers that Devi inherited from her father, she was just a mortal, and with age she withered. Lord Aizen could not comprehend losing his love, so he devised a plan to make Devi immortal. Instead of taking her soul to the next life, he sealed it inside a summoning mask of the Shinigami so that he could summon her soul whenever he wanted and live with her forever. But when the other gods found out about this, they punished Lord Aizen. They cursed him to never be able to see Devi again, and if he summoned her ever, he would lose not only his wife, but his children too, and that he must leave the earth immediately and never to return. They cursed him to be forever remembered as nothing but a monster known as death to all humans. He bowed down to the might of the gods and left the earth, but before leaving, he outwitted the gods once again by leaving his very own summoning mask along with his wife to his children so that they can call him whenever they want. The gods can stop him from coming to earth all they want, but he will never abandon his family. And that is how the Uzumaki had the power to summon the death god to help them. But with time, people forgot the true history of the Uzumaki, and when the age of shinobi villages started, the Uzumaki remained in their little island supporting and protecting their family. Because for Uzumaki, family comes above all, and with the special powers that the Uzumaki wielded comes the fear associated with it. People grew scared of how easily the Uzumaki can do things that seemed impossible for others, and the true fear towards Uzumaki started when Lady Mito, who married Hashirama Senju, became the first Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails Fox, and that initiated the true campaign to wipe out the Uzumaki, because even the tailed beast were nothing against their might. I don't know what happened clearly because I was a little girl at the time, but somehow the allied forces of Kyomo, Iwa, and Kiri entered Yuzushio in the cover of the night, and when everyone was sleeping peacefully, they started massacring our people. It was brutal. Chaos was everywhere. The allied force had only one motivation, and that was to kill Uzumaki, not capture or subdue, just kill, kill, and kill. Our leader at that time was Lord Yoshino, who saw that the destruction of Yuzushio was the only outcome of this invasion. He felt the only way to protect what little of his family remained was to sacrifice himself. And so he created a barrier around Yuzushio that trapped anyone who didn't have Uzumaki chakra in them, and the remaining members of Clan Uzumaki left the barrier with heavy hearts and sorrow. Lord Yoshino summoned the Shinigami to devour the souls of all the invaders that were present that night, and when Lord Aizen came as a Shinigami, he saw only what was left of the beloved home he and his wife had built. He saw the dead bodies of not only the enemy, but of his children as well. He has never felt so angry in his entire life. Lord Yoshino apologized to the All-Father for failing to protect his family. He didn't have much time left, and the barrier was necessary to end all their enemies, so he urged the Shinigami to take the soul of all those trapped inside the barrier at the cost of his own life, and that was exactly what Lord Aizen did. He devoured all the souls of enemy shinobi, and they all died screaming and kicking, unable to escape the fate that welcomed them. And now they all are trapped inside the Shinigami's stomach to suffer a fate worse than death for all eternity, and with that Lord Yoshino finally fell. The Uzumaki that survived all stayed behind to bury all of their fallen family, and to give them proper farewell, and the All-Father also stayed with them. Filled with anger at being unable to do anything for his fallen family, he cursed the god for their inaction, for letting the innocent be killed without any consequences, and he used the power he regained with time to compel the gods to his will, and the gods finally listened to his anger. A prophecy was told by the skies of a boy who will be born with the blessings of death, one who will attain what no other before him has, and that boy will be the one to fulfill the will of the Shinigami. I was their little Karen when the prophecy was told, and I saw the power that the All-Father wielded even in his weak form. Even the skies bowed down to his might. He promised his children that one day they will be able to rebuild their home again and avenge their fallen family. But until then, they must leave this place and survive. Before leaving, he sealed Yuzushio and promised that only the boy chosen by the gods who will bend the very nature to his will, and only that boy will be able to undo the seal, and when that happens, a mark will appear on all who share the Uzumaki blood. And when that time comes, you all must unite together and rebuild our home, and with that the All-Father left us. I was a small child, and with time I forgot the true meaning of my exile, why I was here hiding in this village in the first place, but now that I am about to depart this world, I remember everything, Karen, and you must also remember. This is what we are living for. The day is near, and I can feel in my blood. The boy has already been born in this world. You must survive and find the boy, Karen. Promise me that you will fulfill our destiny. Promise me that our true home will be rebuilt and we will avenge our family. Promise me, Karen, that you will not lose hope. Karen promised with all her heart, and with that, Yumiko Uzumaki died with a smile on her lips and hope in her eyes. She left the village after the funeral of her mother, which was attended by only one person other than her, the doctor that Mother used to work with, and he also helped Karen leave the village. And now she is here serving the snake Sanin of Konoha and waiting for the opportunity to go and find the boy that will change her life. Author's note: thank you all for reading this. My exam has started, that's why this took so long to write, and the next one might be late too, so sorry in advance. In this chapter 1 gave a little tribute to the goat Sosuke Aizen. I just wanted a name for the Shinigami, and what better to name him than the great Shinigami Lord Aizen of Bleach Universe. First of all, this is not a crossover with Bleach, and this story will not use any of the Bleach powers like Bankai. Also, I have taken the liberty to change some things of the Naruto universe. Indra and Ashura were inspired by Hindu mythology, so I made up a little sister for them, Devi, who is also inspired by Hinduism. Things and lore behind things will change according to my needs, so if you don't like this, then you can stop reading this FIC. But if you still continue, then thanks for your support. That's all for now. God bless you all. Flashback. He thought he was going to die. The moment he wore that mask, everything seemed to get sucked inside it, including him, and he never wants to experience that again. The walls of the shrine all lit up automatically, and he could clearly see everything. Symbols that adorn the walls, different kinds of weapons and scrolls, and especially masks. So many masks in Naruto is not touching any of them again. He should remove the one he is wearing too, shouldn't he? But it feels warm now instead of giving that cold feeling it gave earlier, and maybe he's a little insane, but the atmosphere around is so cold that he wants to keep all the warmth he can get so he didn't touch the mask. Hello, young Uzumaki. It's so good to finally meet you. I have been waiting for you for so long. Now he knows that he is a little insane, but not so much that he will start hearing voices in his mind, because there is no one aside from him here. He gets a little uncomfortable thinking that there might be a ghost here. Well, it certainly looked like a place where ghosts could live freely, but not him. You could say I am a ghost, but I am not here to hurt you, little prince. I just want to talk to the boy I was waiting for. This time he was sure he didn't hear wrong, or that it was just his illusion. Someone was talking to him, and it was a ghost. Now Naruto isn't afraid of anything, but ghosts are something that frightens him. And so the only logical thing to do in this situation was to run, and that's what he did. He got up and ran, but the moment he reached outside the shrine, his feet stopped. He recognized immediately that he was not in Konoha. All around him was a forest and ruins. He could hear waves of water, and the breeze was cold, but not scary cold, but just normal cold. His heart panicked. What the hell happened to him? Where is he? Again, he started running, and he ran as fast as he could in what he assumed was the direction of Konoha, hoping to find the village somehow, and all he reached was sand and sea. As far as his eyes could see, there was water and waves. The moonlight lighting the blue water in his silver color, and the glass present in the sand shining like diamonds, and it was the most beautiful and breathtaking view he has ever seen. This is Yuzushio, little prince. A hand was on his shoulder, and he looked behind to see probably the most beautiful woman ever. Her long red hair flowing like a river. Her eyes looked like something that shouldn't belong in this world. Everything about her was perfect, but instead of being enchanted by her beauty, he panicked because he didn't know what was going on. He tried to take a step back, but she stopped him with her firm grip, and Naruto's heart was beating. He was going to die by the hand of this beautiful ghost in this beautiful place, or maybe he was already dead and right now was in the afterlife, and this is the angel sent to take him to his place, and that made the most sense. Otherwise, how else could you explain all the things that are happening? You are not dead, Naruto, the ghost said while smiling, and I'm not here to harm you, so there's no need for you to be afraid of me. Although she is a ghost, somehow Naruto knew instinctively that he could trust her. He doesn't know why, but somehow he feels like he already knows her, so, against his better judgment, he calmed his nerves by taking some long breaths and asked the most important question. What is happening to me? Where am I? What is this place? And who are you? She smiled and sat down on the sand. She motioned for him to do the same, and for some minutes they both sat silently on the sand, watching the sea. Naruto felt a calmness he never felt before. It was something he should get used to. The breeze was soothing, and the sound of sea waves provided a comfort he didn't know even existed. In Konoha, he never felt so calm. There was always a form of chaos surrounding his life when everything was silent. When there was peace, all Naruto felt was loneliness and misery. Even his dreams were full of them, so he always surrounded himself in mayhem, because he didn't want to give himself the time to be at ease. But here it was different. The thoughts that normally plagued his mind didn't bother him here. He finally felt like this was the place where he belonged. I know you have many questions, little prince, and I will tell you everything about who you are. Who am I? You don't have to be afraid of me or of this place. All we both want is for you to understand us and yourself so you can finally understand who you really are, the lady told him in an almost angelic voice. If Naruto ever thought of angels, this would be how they looked and talked. It was calming listening to her. He didn't feel agitated like he does in Konoha, so he nodded his head in acceptance, motioning her to continue while he listened to her beautiful voice in this beautiful place. First of all, my name is Devi Uzumaki. I am the daughter of the Sage of Six Paths and founder of the Uzumaki clan and Uzushio. I am here to tell the story of the beginning and fall of our home Naruto. And it all started when Naruto listened intently, not focusing on anything other than her. She told him about Lord Aizen, the Sage of Six Paths, the tailed beasts, and about his clan. He had a clan which was destroyed by people who were afraid of them, like the people of Konoha are afraid of him. Naruto knows what hatred and fear could do to a person, and now he understood why he was hated the way Konoha hates him. It is because of what he carries inside him, the Nine-Tails Fox. Devi told him about what happened to the tailed beasts after she died, and how they were once free and shinobi enslaved them only for power. She told him about his mother, and how she died while fighting to save her son. She told him about the fall of Uzushio, and that there are still Uzumaki people scattered around the world hoping to come back to their home, but too scared of the world that rejects their very existence. She told him how he was the son that was promised by the gods to rebuild Uzushio and bring their clan back together. She told him about what it means to be a Jinchuriki in this world and what the tailed beasts really are. She told him about herself, and he was able to meet her. All this information was too much for Naruto. He went from just an orphan hated by everyone in Konoha to the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails Fox and the Prince of Uzushio in mere moments, and it was too much. It overwhelmed him in a way he never felt before. The feeling of all those people he lost, their sadness and cries filled him. The rage that Konoha hated him even after he was used to save their lives was too hot to control. The burden of knowing that it was his duty to rebuild and regroup his clan and make sure that they're safe this time around against anyone who tries to harm them was too much for him to bear at the moment, and Naruto just couldn't take it all at once, and for the second time in a day he passed out. Debbie took Naruto into her lap after he passed out. She knew it was too much for the boy, but there was no other way. He had to know all the truths that had been hidden away from. He must know the burden that he carries every day, and he must also know the duties he has to perform as the Prince of Uzushio. When Naruto woke up, he was in the same place as before. The only difference was now he was sleeping in the lap of Devi. He immediately got up after regaining his conscience. Devi didn't react to his sudden movements. She was sitting as though he wasn't moving at all. There was no change in her expressions. She just sat there looking at the sea. I know it is too much for you to bear, but this cannot be avoided. You must know who you are, for it has been hidden far long from you. This sea, this island, it all belongs to you, and you belong to them, little prince. A tree cannot harbor whirlpools. It only belongs to the ocean. Now, when you know everything, you must decide what you should do. Whether to fulfill your destiny and bring the clan back together, or remain in Konoha and try to prove that you are more than what they think of you. No matter what path you take, the storms and whirlpools will always be there for you. They are yours to command, and they will accept you every decision. I'm leaving for now because I know you need some time alone to think things through, but remember, whatever decision you make, I will always support you, Naruto. And just like that, he was again inside that shrine wearing the Tengu mask. Naruto thought it was all a bad dream, and he just woke up from it, but the sensations inside his body were telling him something else. He knew it was all real, it cannot be false. Naruto knows what he needs to do. He didn't need to think this through for as long as Naruto remembered. He always tried to be part of this great tree called Konoha, to become one of its leaves like everyone else. But he always knew deep inside that he didn't belong here, that there was something calling for his own something he can call home, and now he knows all the truths and all the lies that this tree has hidden from him, and he has made his choice. Perhaps looking back, he will regret this moment, but Naruto only knows to move forward. Once he has made up his mind to do something, he will do it no matter what. Look out, world, the Uzumaki are coming back. Naruto got up from the shrine and took the Tengu mask with him back to his apartment. The rain had stopped and it was nearly morning. He took a long sleep, not even going to the academy that day. Well, he was tired as hell, so anyone will forgive one day of not going to the academy. Once night came again, he went back outside of Konoha, but it was not as easy as he thought. Apparently, the third Hokage couldn't find him after he played that prank, so he sent out some of his best shinobi, and even they couldn't find him. So when he made his way out of the apartment, he was immediately brought in front of the Hokage, who had many questions for which Naruto has no answers. If the third has kept many secrets from him, then he will also keep his secrets to himself. He was asked about last night, which replied he spent inside his apartment. Apparently none of the shinobi thought to check his apartment while searching for him, and Naruto just got lucky no one saw him coming back to his apartment. The third looked like he knew he was lying, but didn't say anything, just that he can go and take care of things. Naruto doesn't think he should spend much time with the third, otherwise he will do and say something that will ruin everything that Naruto has thought of, and after that he avoided the third as much as possible, and with time the third only visited once a month to give him his monthly stipend. Naruto went to the shrine every day after that, and he started wearing the Tengu mask whenever he wasn't sleeping, eating, or bathing. Apparently, according to Devi, who was the founder of his clan, he can only talk to her while he was wearing that mask because her soul is trapped in it, and it will be trapped for as long as the mask remains. Naruto asked if he could just destroy the mask and free her, and she just smiled and told him that only the Elder Gods can free her. Now Naruto has two missions. First, to rebuild Uzushio and restore the glory of his clan, and second, to free Devi. He likes Devi a lot more than he thought possible. She always answers all of his questions. She is super duper intelligent and somehow knows everything. She helps him study and even trains him. Naruto is learning all about his clan, their history, their techniques and fighting style from Devi, but according to Naruto, is different from all the other Uzumaki, and it has nothing to do with Kurama. He forgot about Kurama. So he met the Nine-Tails Fox with Devi by his side, who apparently somehow appeared in the seal. She was also the little sister of the fox, and fixed his relationship with the fox before it could be even more damaging than it already was. Kurama told him his real name when Naruto introduced himself, which no other living human knows, and that make Naruto feel a lot more special, because Kurama trusted him with his name, and Naruto promised that he will also free Kurama from this seal and make sure no one ever again seals him again, which made him smile, and that made both Naruto and Devi smile. Kurama also trains Naruto about history and chakra. He knows so much about chakra in this world. Kurama also lived in Uzushio with Devi, but after she died, he left the island and lived in secret until Madara came to control him. Now Naruto knows about his parents, what happened when he was born, and that the masked Uchiha is still out there somewhere, and Naruto has to protect both himself and Kurama from him. He knows about his clan and his burden as a Jinchuriki. He should thank the third Hokage for not turning him into a weapon of mass destruction, like Kurama explained. Now that Naruto has a family, Devi who treats him like a mother will treat his son, full of love and affection, and Kurama, who's like a big brother, stern but sometimes a little naughty, and Naruto is slowly winning all of Kurama's affection. He no longer felt the need to play pranks or go out his way to gain attention. In fact, he tries to avoid other people as much as possible. Thanks to Devi and Kurama, his scores in the academy has gotten way better than he previously thought. His taijutsu, chakra control, academics, and overall all his performance have advanced at an impossible rate. He is now one of the top students in the academy, and that's all thanks to Devi and Kurama. His advancement in the academy and his sudden change in behavior and the Tengu mask that he keeps with himself has freaked most people out, while some of them have become very receptive to him. Like Sasuke, no longer treats him like a nuisance, and in fact he sometimes gives him tips to better his taijutsu, and they even train together after the academy. Iruka-sensei never gets angry with him, and he always makes sure to ask him if he has any problem understanding anything. All in all, Naruto's life couldn't be better, but this is not enough. Nothing will be enough until he has achieved his dream of bringing his clan together, and now that he knows the truth, he has a way to get them all back to where he belongs. He has a way to find them all, and he will face anything on his way to find his family. His resolve and will is strong, and it reflects as the mark on his hand pulse with the Uzumaki power. Flashback. So the mark is proof that I am indeed the child that was promised, and it is through me that Uzushio will be restored to its former glory. Naruto already knows this, but he asks Devi again and again because everything feels unreal to him. Some time ago, he was just a normal boy hated by everyone around him, and suddenly he is the hope of an entire nation waiting for his arrival, and it feels burdening. Naruto wants to restore Uzushio and bring the clan back together, not because of some prophecy, but because he wants to do it. Devi agrees with him, saying that he should only go where his heart takes him, so there's no pressure there, but still knowing everything that Devi has told him has shaken him, that he couldn't believe everything to this day. Every morning he wakes up thinking that this might all be a dream and reality will kick through soon, but every day Devi is present there. So is Kurama and the mark in his hand. The Uzumaki swirl present in his arm feels so much more than a simple mark. It feels ancient and powerful. It feels sentient, like it is calling to him, saying something he couldn't understand. He feels the mark is trying to lead him somewhere, or to something like it wanted Naruto to know something, but he couldn't for some reason. He tells this much to Devi, who nods her head in understanding. Listen, Naruto, you're not a normal child, and neither are Uzumaki. Uzushio itself isn't normal. When I created our home there with Aizen, we used all of our knowledge and power to make it as perfect as possible. Uzushio has always been filled with our powers and has been subjected to the powers of the gods. When Aizen sealed Uzushio in hope of your birth, Uzushio itself closed herself from all around, and now the island is surrounded by whirlpools far more wild and thunderous than ever before. The only reason you were able to enter Uzushio when you summoned me was only because of who you are and what you meant to both of us. The Uzushio that you saw that day is not what it is supposed to be, and only you can bring back her true beauty out for everyone to see. Uzushio is weeping for her children like I do. Uzushio is waiting for you like every other Uzumaki, and that mark on your hand is proof of that. It is the only way to connect every Uzumaki together and bring down the barrier that sealed Uzushio. For now, only you can enter the island, but when you have completely gained the approval of Uzushio and me, you will be able to reseal the island and wield the true power of the Uzumaki. But that mark is incomplete. You can see the swirl of Uzushio on your hand, but if you look closely, you'll find that it has only a little color in it. That is because up until now, you were unaware of everything, but now that you have me, you know everything. That mark is there to show that Uzushio has awakened from its long slumber, but she is still not ready to welcome you, because you haven't proven yourself to Uzushio. You must prove your wisdom and your strength. You must prove your will and your courage, and when you have proven everything that Uzushio requires of you. When Uzushio thinks you are ready to be home, it will call you and all her children back to where they all belong. That is the day the mark will gain its full coloring, and then you will know what it is saying and what you must do. You have already promised me that you will restore Yuzushio and that you will bring the clan back together, but you must understand it won't be an easy task. It will be like moving a mountain, but much more dangerous. You'll have to train yourself to the death if you want the power to protect all of which you treasure and to fulfill your dreams. Because if you remain weak, you won't be able to protect anything, not even your dreams, Naruto. I am here, and so is Kurama, and we will help you as best as we can, but it is you have to do the heavy lifting. You are free to do what you want in life, and I will support you, but if you choose to walk this path, then it is important that you know what you are getting into. Not only are the enemy of Yuzushio powerful and dangerous, but there will be other obstacles on your path to glory. So if you want to move these mammoth mountains, then you must become much stronger than them. Are you ready for it, my little prince? Naruto has always dreamt big. When he was a child, his dream was to be the greatest Hokage so that everyone will finally acknowledge him as Naruto Uzumaki. But those days are over, and now he dreams of his clan being happy and together rebuilding Yuzushio and being the best family that they were supposed to be. He has always known that power will be required to achieve his dreams, whether it will be to become Hokage or to rebuild Yuzushio, and now Devi is telling him the same thing. He knows in his heart what is required of him, and that the path to his paradise won't be easy, but he also doesn't like easy. He is Naruto Uzumaki, heir of the storms and whirlpools, and he will show the world what happens when you mess with his family and home. He will do anything and everything to ensure that his people are safe and happy, and he will not let anyone destroy that happiness again. I'm aware of the path that I have chosen for me, and I know that it won't be easy. A day will come when the storm ahead will feel impossible to survive, but I will survive it, and I will do anything necessary for the survival of my people. Naruto Uzumaki vows to rebuild Yuzushio and bring the Uzumaki clan together, even if I die achieving my goal. Naruto spoke with so much conviction that the mark on his palm glowed with its appreciation, and it gained a little bit more color. Even the sky bestowed their blessings with a thunderous roar, and Devi smiled, and her eyes told him that she is convinced of his words, that she puts her trust on him like Yuzushio does, and Naruto will not disappoint them. He will achieve his dream or die trying, but he will not give up no matter what, because that is his ninja way to never give up. Flashback ends. A year and a half has passed since Naruto met Devi and Kurama, and his life is getting better and better every day. Now not only he has people he can call family, even if one of them is a 1,000-year-old ghost or the other one a giant fox made up of chakra. For Naruto, they are more than enough to be his family, but he now knows almost everything important about himself. The truths of his life have been hidden by him for far too long, and all the important choices were made for him, but not anymore. Now he will decide what to do with his life and what dreams to follow. He has already decided what he is going to do in this life, and he is working towards that goal. In the past year, his relationship with some people of the village has improved much more than what he previously thought, and some have taken a fall from what they were. Iruka-sensei has become a constant in his life now that he takes his studies more seriously and started working hard to become much better than he previously was. His improvement has only shown Iruka-sensei that Naruto is serious about improving himself, and he is helping Naruto with his studies much more than any other student in his class. No one has ever shown Naruto favoritism, so to know that you are the favorite student of your teacher is quite the feeling, and Naruto likes feeling like this. Iruka not only helps him during the academy, but sometimes he even comes to Naruto's apartment to drop some books or scrolls that Naruto might need, and even does shopping for Naruto after realizing that he can't buy proper things himself from the villagers, and Naruto is very grateful for everything that he has been doing for them. While on the other hand, his relationship with the Hokage has taken a turn. Naruto no longer trusts the old man the way he previously did, but he still didn't hate him. Previously, the third was the only person to show Naruto any kind of affection or kindness, and because of that, he had a special place in his heart. But now that all the secrets are in the open, every time he sees the third, he feels the same hurt he felt the first time he learned the truth of his life. So Naruto keeps his distance from him. He stopped going to the Hokage office unless absolutely necessary. Even the old man has sensed that something has changed between them, so he also respects Naruto's choice and only visits him to give his monthly allowance. He also expresses his happiness on knowing that Naruto is improving in his studies and his belief that he will surely become a great shinobi one day, and he might not show it, but it fills Naruto with happiness knowing he has made the old man proud. Speaking of changed relationships, the thing that surprised him most was the sudden change in behavior that Sasuke showed him ever since he started focusing on his studies. It all started slowly with Sasuke treating him better than before and giving him taijutsu tips while sparring. Then he invited him to train together after the academy, because according to Sasuke, there was no one in the academy who challenged him enough before Naruto started improving, and now they both can train together to improve their skills. He even invited him to his clan compound to use the Uchiha training grounds, which was a huge deal considering he never talks about his clan with anyone, and so Naruto accepted it all without any fuss. While Devi and Kurama can train him about chakra and Uzumaki arts, he needs someone to help him in his physical training, and there was no one better than Sasuke in his class, and Naruto might have rejected his help before thinking he was just looking down on him, but now he understood things better, and he isn't going to refuse any help that might help him achieve his goals. While they trained together almost every day, they also started sitting together in the academy. It was actually Sasuke who insisted that they sit together because Naruto provided him a shield from Sasuke's fangirls. Naruto was never popular in his class, and ever since he started wearing the Tengu mask, the fangirls avoid him as much as they can, and this provided Sasuke the brilliant idea of sitting together with Naruto, and one day, while Naruto entered the class, Sasuke was the one who invited Naruto to his seat in front of everyone, and ever since then they always sit together. They never spoke to each other unless necessary because either Naruto is focusing on his lectures or he is busy with a conversation with Devi or Kurama, and Sasuke doesn't feel like talking to anyone. This gave Naruto the perfect place to spend his time while in the academy. Some of the fangirls were even angry that Naruto seems to get along with Sasuke, while they couldn't, and Sakura was the one who seems the most displeased. She even thought of berating Naruto and punch him in the face for taking seat next to her precious Sasuke. And while Naruto doesn't hate, he also doesn't like her anymore, and he will also not tolerate any kind of demeaning attitude towards himself, and that's what he did when Sakura tried to punch him. He caught her punch and told her to leave him alone. His tone was cold like ice, and Sakura understood that this was not the old Naruto that will tolerate the abuse that others give him just because they think he deserves this. She ran away with her tails between her legs. Even though none of them will say it out loud, they have become friends. Sasuke always waits for him to come and start training, and Naruto always makes sure that he doesn't cross any line with Sasuke. They both are in a friendly relationship that is beneficial to both of them. And that's what has become Naruto's social life. With Iruka, Sasuke, and the monthly visits from the Hokage being the constant presence in his routine. The only thing he did daily was to visit the Ichiraku ramen. They always knew who he was, but never treated him like the rest of the villagers, and so Naruto will forever be grateful to them, and their ramen also tastes like heaven. His visits to Ichiraku served a dual purpose. One was to eat their ramen, and another was to constantly thank them in the ways that he can for all of their kindness. He will never forget the day when Tucci offered him his first bowl of ramen because he was hungry and couldn't afford to buy anything. That's just what he is doing when he is not talking or training with his family. His training has improved significantly because he is now being trained in ways of the Uzumaki. Naruto is different not only because he is a Jinchuriki, but also because he is an Uzumaki. According to both Devi and Kurama, his chakra is different from any other Uzumaki they have seen. It is much more dense and powerful from even some Chunin from this village, and it also tends to work differently than other people's, and only Devi understood the reason behind it. According to her, he's been exposed to Kurama's chakra ever since he has been conceived inside his mother, not only that when he was born he was immediately exposed to the power of the Shinigami and the Nine Tails was sealed inside him. The seal that his father used made sure that little bit of Kurama's chakra will be constantly leaked into his own chakra system. And as a result of all this, his chakra changed from just a normal Uzumaki child to be more like a Biju. Biju were made up by dividing the Jubi into 9 forms, and because of that, not only they have the chakra of the Jubi, but also its connection to nature. According to Kurama, even if you combine all the 9 Bijus, they wouldn't even be half as powerful as the Jubi, because it was being made up entirely of natural chakra. Chakra is given to humans by the sage of 6 paths, but that doesn't mean it didn't exist before that, as Jubi is the example of that being made of pure chakra. Chakra was present everywhere, in every aspect of nature. Humans just didn't know how to get that and use it. But when the sage of 6 paths shared his chakra with humans, not only it provided them with the ability to use chakra, but it also connected them with nature. The sage used chakra in its purest form, and he became one with chakra itself. And that is the reason he was able to achieve such a feat. The chakra he shared was not to give them the power, but to understand each other. The chakra that his disciples received was as pure as a Biju chakra, just pure raw chakra, and that gave them the connection they were lacking. With time, their bodies adapted to the natural aspect of chakra and mutated to accept it as their own part. And when that happened, it gave birth to the bloodlines that we now know and why their children inherited the power shared by the sage. But with time, people forgot about the sage's teaching and what the real purpose of chakra was. They only thought of it as a power source and became too reliant on it. They only thought about destruction when it comes to chakra, and this diluted their chakra qualities. The Uzumaki have strong chakra, because while they were shinobi like another ninja, they did not limit themselves to using chakra for fighting only. They used seals and created seals, something that is as pure and fascinating as chakra itself. And because of that, they were able to maintain their chakra qualities much longer than other humans. Naruto's chakra is much more powerful and universal, in the words of Kurama, than even the strong Uzumaki. His chakra has more quality of a Biju than that of a human, and that is why his chakra training is also different from other humans. Instead of learning hand signs to learn jutsu, like any other academy student, Naruto is learning to change his chakra into different chakra natures without the use of any hand signs. A Biju doesn't need a hand sign to use its power. They can manipulate their chakra to the extreme and have perfect control over it, even when they have such large amounts of chakra, and the reason behind is they understand their chakra much more than any human understands theirs. Naruto needs to do the same. To perfectly control his chakra, he first needs to understand it, and the first step to do this is to learn the nature of his chakra, which is what he is trying to do today. Chakra was derived from nature, and because of that, it will always have an inclination towards nature. The 5 basic components of nature are air, fire, water, lightning, and earth. Without these aspects of nature, it cannot survive, hence why every shinobi who uses chakra is affiliated to one of these natures, and that is what we call your chakra nature. It can be different for different people. Sometimes you inherit the chakra nature of your parents. Sometimes you are born completely different from them. Some people have multiple chakra natures, mostly in the cases of bloodline wielders. If you have a chakra nature associated with fire, then you'll be able to use fire jutsu much more easily than that of any other nature, but that was not always the case. When my father shared his chakra with his disciples, even they showed their inclination towards different chakra natures and decided to master them first before trying to learn other natures. But how do your chakra decide which nature you should be more inclined to? Does it depend on where you were born or who your parents are and what their chakra natures were? Or is it some other factors that we don't know? I always thought about this when I was little, and as I grew up, I found the answer to my questions. Every person is born of nature. All the 5 basic aspects of nature is part of them, but one nature is always dominant in them. And that nature decides their personality or plays a huge role in what their personality will be, and that same nature also can be seen as your chakra nature. But as you grow, you learn different things and meet different people. All your life experience changes you and shapes your personality and your thinking process. And as a result, your chakra also changes. That is the reason the more you grow and train with different natures, the more easy it becomes to use them. And some people even master more than two chakra natures. Your personality drives your chakra. For example, when Kurama was still in Yuzushio, his chakra was pleasant and calm. It was warm and welcoming, but now after experiencing so many years as a slave of humans, his hatred has also grown, and so his chakra changed to much more volatile and cold. With this, we can conclude that to fully understand and to gain complete control of your chakra natures, you need to first understand yourself and your personality. What do you like and why do you like it? What do you hate and why? What makes you angry and what makes you happy? What is it that you want to achieve? Things like these are what shapes a man, and once you understand yourself, you will completely understand your chakra. For you, the training that I have decided is completely different than what other ninja do. You have time to think about these answers, and once you find them, it'll become easy for you to control your chakra, as it was for me, and it is for Kurama. But in the meantime, we can work on your foundations. The stronger your understanding of chakra is, the easier it will be for you to control it. We will not check what your nature is, at least for now. You will learn the basics of every chakra nature, whether it be hard or easy for you, and we will only move forward when you have mastered the basics, but you don't have to worry because we are here to help you along the way as families do. Devi told him clearly about what chakra is and what chakra nature means. Naruto understood everything clearly. His training is only going to get hard as time goes on, but nothing worth comes without hard work. If he wants to achieve the goals that he has set for himself, then he needs to work harder than anybody else. If he wants to become the strongest shinobi ever, then he needs to train harder than anyone else too. And Naruto is ready for the challenges ahead. With his family by his side, there's nothing that Naruto Uzumaki can't achieve. We need to talk. Naruto is used to hearing the voice in his head, and it no longer startles him. To think that such a mystic and large creature is sealed inside him is still unbelievable, but there is no denying the power of sealing. Speaking of sealing, his own studies of sealing is progressing much more rapidly than they all thought. One Naruto got hold of the basics of his studies of both the academy and sealing arts. Learning the more advanced stages was easy for him. Maybe it was because of his Uzumaki lineage, but sealing comes to Naruto as easy as learning to breathe. He understands the language of seals like they are talking to him and telling him what to do, and neither Kurama nor Devi know why. Apparently, there are still some things that can't be explained. Naruto. This time it startled Naruto because he was in his own dream world thinking. Kurama is calling him, and although he doesn't know why, it might be important, and it isn't like he is doing anything important. His relationship with Kurama has improved significantly over the past, and when he looks back to the first time they met, he can't believe that he has got someone he can call family so easily. Flashback. It was Devi who suggested that he go meet Kurama, because although he is sealed inside him, he is still lonely, but Naruto didn't know he could do it. How could you go and meet someone who is jailed inside humans for nearly a century and just talk to him while you are in his current jail? He voices his concerns to Devi, who assures him that as long as he is truthful and doesn't do anything to betray Kurama, he has nothing to fear. Trusting Devi, he follows the instruction Devi gave him to enter his mindscape with Kurama. Taking a deep breath, he focuses on the seal and its core. He feels a slight sensation and opens his eyes. It is not anything like he imagined. It is a sewer. His mindscape is a sewer filled with water, and there in front of him stood the cage that holds his family away from him. Kurama might be a monster to everyone around him, but to Naruto, he is Devi's big brother, and that makes him Naruto's family. Whether Kurama likes him and not Naruto will not be affected by his nature or words, and just like he has willed himself to free Devi from that mask, he will free Kurama too from this jail and protect him from anyone who tries to harm him. Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I have come here to meet you. So how are you? He called from where he stood. He couldn't see anything inside the cage. It was all pitch black. Slowly, two slitted eyes opened from inside the cage, and suddenly the cage lit up. There in all its glory stood the nine-tailed fox, swinging his tails freely. I know who you are, but why have you come here? And why do you care how I feel? Kurama's every word felt like a thunderous roar. He is so much bigger than Naruto previously thought. He stood his ground, even though his heart was pounding so hard it might burst out of his body. Naruto calmed himself and looked at his family. How many years has it been since he saw the outside world, smelled the fragrance of flowers, or drank from a river? How long has it been since he did anything of his own free will? Naruto looked directly into the eyes of the so-called nine-tails demon fox and saw the anger towards everything that existed. He saw the bitterness towards his own disability to do anything to free himself, but he also saw the sadness that surrounds him. This is a being who is chained simply because of his power and by his own family no less. Naruto thought his life was miserable, but it was nothing compared to the one that was in front of him. Instead of seeing the giant fox that everyone saw, he saw the injustice that ignorant fools have done to him. He saw the grave mistake committed by those who came before Naruto. He needs to fix this before it is too. No, it is too late, and he needs to minimize the damage, or they all will be doomed. Devi told him what powers the Biju wield, and if humans didn't accept that what they did to Biju was wrong and apologized, then a day will come that they will surely regret their choices. A single tear left his eyes, seeing his family going through such torment just because of greed and fear. Devi told me about you. I met her through the Uzumaki mask that Lord Aizen left behind. She told me everything about me and you. He finally replied to Kurama after a long pause. To think that the hunger for power can take such a turn, slaving another being just because you didn't understand his nature or powers. Naruto felt an anger he never felt before, even for himself. How can someone think of themselves so highly that they will decide who deserves freedom? To think they will torment someone just because they are different, just like they did to him. He saw his family suffering in front of him and unable to do anything. Naruto never felt such hatred for anyone before like he felt now. Kurama watched everything silently. Hearing the boy's words shook him. He thought back to the little girl the sage gave birth to, and how she was much different than her siblings. Kurama remembers playing with her before she turned into an adult and left her father to follow her own path with a god. Kurama was there when she built her home and her family. He felt proud and happy for her and her achievements. He remembers the bond that he had with the only human child of his father. Kurama felt the boy's emotions in front of him. When the sage divided the Jubi, every other Biju got the powers of the Jubi, but Kurama got the essence of it. The Jubi was part of nature, and so is Kurama. He can sense even the nature of men. He is the only being in this world who is one with nature, and he uses his ability to examine his new jailer. He can sense the understanding, the anger and hatred, and the resolve to help him. He saw truth that was flowing in his eyes. He saw the unsaid promise on his angry face. I care for you because you're my family, and I am sorry for what has happened to you. The boy spoke after what felt like eternity to both the beings. Such simple words were uttered by the boy, yet they told the whole story. Kurama saw no illusions or lies in those words. A human says these words 1,000,000 times in his life, but no one has apologized to a Biju ever. To think that after just meeting him, the boy will act so understanding and mature. Kurama can hate him like he hates everything. Kurama can dismiss him like he has dismissed everything. But this in front of him is the legacy of his sister, the only other human to ever understand Kurama after the sage. Before either of them could say anything further, another presence entered the mindscape, and there stood the girl just how Kurama remembered her. How much time has it been since he last saw her? The tiny being who used to ride him, who played with him, and who truly saw him as something other than a Biju. Though she was his sister, his family. Kurama stood up, but said nothing. Hello, big brother. It has been a long time, Devi said to the family that has suffered so much after she left him. She blamed herself for what happened to her siblings, if only they all remained together. Maybe none of this wouldn't happen, but it is all just blissful thinking. Devi Kurama couldn't find the words to say what he was feeling. Never in 1,000 years has he ever imagined seeing her. But here she was. It was not an illusion, that is for sure, but she is not alive either. She is something more than just being alive. She felt so pure, just like nature. She felt ancient, just like Kurama. Neither of the three spoke another word. Devi took Naruto's hand into her own and walked towards Kurama. They entered the cage and stood in front of him. Kurama knew what she was doing, as she had done the same thing many times when she was just a child. He sat down and allowed both of them to climb him. The three sat in silence. No words were needed to convey what each of them were feeling. In this strange place at this strange time, they truly understood each other. All the anger, bitterness, hatred, and loneliness, they understood each other. A girl sealed inside a mask, unable to meet the one she loves. A Biju jailed by those of his own because of greed and fear, and a boy hated by those he protects. They finally found the family they were searching for, and together, they will help each other heal what this world has given to them. Devi thought of the past, of the mistake she committed by leaving her family alone. Kurama thought of the present. Seeing both Devi and Naruto atop of him, he knew from this day on his life will only get better, and Naruto thought of the future, of the promise to make sure that his family will never suffer again as long as he takes breath. Flashback ends. And that's how Naruto first met Kurama, and ever since then their relationship has only improved. Kurama told him all about what he knew of his mother and his life, and Naruto couldn't be happier knowing that both Kurama and Naruto are not alone anymore. Kurama also greatly helped Naruto through his training. His understanding of chakra is so deep that it sometimes leaves him in awe. Kurama's explanations about things related to chakra are so thorough and perfect that even Naruto has excelled ever since he started teaching him. Thanks to Kurama, now Naruto has the basic understanding of not one, but all of the 5 chakra nature, because as explained to him before, Naruto is different from others. Flashback. Listen, Naruto, as Devi already explained to you, your chakra is already much more different from others because of your Uzumaki lineage, but not only that, since you're my Jinchuriki from the start, and due to the nature of the seal that your father used, my chakra is constantly flowing and mixing with your own chakra. I assume it was done so that your body and chakra coils become accustomed to using my chakra over time, but this has also significantly changed your chakra. Chakra-wise, you are much closer to a Biju than to a human, and because of this, using your chakra will be much more difficult than that of an average ninja. They were talking inside his mindscape, while in the real world Naruto had just come home from his physical activities. The mindscape provides him a great place to learn everything not physical while also keeping it a secret. No one knows what Naruto is doing inside his mindscape, and time also progresses slowly while he is inside the seal. 1 second in the real world is equal to an hour inside his seal, and that makes it the perfect training place for everything not related to physical exercise. Since his body remembers everything he learns there, so every day Kurama, Devi, and Naruto spend hours inside his mindscape teaching and guiding him, and in the real world Naruto, with the help of Iruka and Sasuke, is improving his physical prowess. It has been 2 years since he met Devi and Kurama, and now Naruto is 11 years old. In just 2 years, he will be graduating from the academy. During these years, Naruto has improved significantly. In the academy now, Naruto is the second best student, just behind Sasuke, and that is only because Sasuke is better in Shuriken Jutsu and Taijutsu. Naruto's chakra control has also improved thanks to the water walking and wall climbing exercises that Naruto learned by watching other shinobi doing while practicing his stealth and how to hide his presence. By observing other ninja, he has learned a great deal, especially some great chakra control exercises. Naruto now can successfully create clones of himself, do the hinge perfectly, and replace himself with any object. Devi has always said to master your basics, because if you know your basics, then everything is easy. Naruto took this to heart. Naruto's chakra control is so precise that he can replace himself with any object, even if it is a single shuriken or a large table. His clones are the perfect copy of himself, and his hinge is also perfect. Thanks to some emotional manipulation and showing results in his studies, Naruto has blackmailed the Hokage to give him a great jutsu on his 10th birthday, and he had given him a jutsu that made Naruto's life a hell lot easier. So he made a bet with the Hokage that if he scored the perfect 100 in his upcoming exams, he will get a jutsu of his own choosing, and the Hokage agreed. And after doing just that with the help of his family, Naruto asked the third for the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which according to Kurama was the only clone jutsu his mother could do, but he didn't know how to do it because he didn't bother much, and who can blame him when you're chained literally? When the third asked how he knew such a jutsu, his only answer was that he saw a ninja using it, and it was cool. Not wanting to break his promise with Naruto, the third not only taught him the Shadow Clone Jutsu, but also the multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu. Maybe before, when Naruto was still an idiot, he wouldn't have figured out the true use of the jutsu unless someone else explained it to him. But now Naruto knows that any technique, no matter how simple, can be used in the most extreme way if you know how and when to use it. After learning the technique in the observation of the Hokage, Naruto came straight to his home and entered his seal to try experimenting with the technique. And in just a few hours, not only he figured out the true power of the jutsu, but how to use it most efficiently. Anything the clone learns, the original learns. That is the true nature of this jutsu, which was created by the second Hokage, especially for information gathering and suicide missions. Not only that, but the clones are solid, not just illusions like the one they teach in the academy. Meaning, as long as Naruto has a way to provide chakra to his clones, they can remain active. And Naruto spent the next year only mastering the Shadow Clone technique. And now, after a year, he has achieved such mastery over the clones that he doesn't need any hand signs to create any number of clones. Every day, using or abusing the clone technique in Naruto's case has not only improved his control over the technique, but has also improved his chakra levels. Now Naruto has more chakra than anyone inside the village hidden in the leaf, and with almost perfect control. He also uses his shadow clones for different purposes, such as using his hinge clones to do shopping, so he can get everything he needs without anyone knowing that it is really Naruto who is buying. His clones have also helped him go into the section of both the public and shinobi library, which were previously inaccessible to him. For the past 2 years, Naruto has just focused on his basics and mastered them. His sole focus had been his chakra control, because the more control you have over your chakra, the more you understand it. Over a year ago, Devi had decided that he was ready to learn different chakra natures, and he has been learning to change his chakra into different natures without the use of hand signs ever since. With the help of shadow clones, which Naruto can create in an absurd amount, he feels like he has trained for almost 5 to 10 years in just a year, but he still needed to improve his physical capabilities because although the shadow clones helps him in learning almost anything from jutsu to taijutsu and kenjutsu moves, he still needed to practice them with his real body to become accustomed to them and have the power and speed to pull it during a fight. During the last 2 years, Naruto has worked relentlessly to improve his physical powers. Being an Uzumaki gave him an absurd amount of stamina. Not only that, but being Jinchuriki to Kurama means his body is much more adaptable to changes. The more he exercises, the more his body hurts, and the more it hurts, the more it becomes strong. His healing factor has always been something that he noticed ever since he was a kid, because while Naruto got hurt a lot when he was a child, he always healed almost instantly. It was an ability that works almost unconsciously whether he is sleeping, eating, or learning. He doesn't need to focus to heal his body, but now he can control his chakra to control his healing. He can heal his body according to his need, meaning the part with much seriousness will be healed much faster while the rest of his body will heal slowly. It is a slow progression, but maybe in the next few years, he will be able to completely control his healing or maybe even use his chakra to heal others. Aside from this, Devi is teaching him how to create the Uzumaki Chakra Chains. Every Uzumaki is born with a special ability that makes them a little different. For example, some are born with a sensing ability so strong They can sense anything alive, even at a large distance, while in some cases they are born with the ability to heal others through their chakra. One of the special abilities of the Uzumaki is to manifest their chakra in the form of chains, which gives them the ability to suppress any type of chakra. They can also be used to channel chakra and fuinjutsu properties. A true master of the chains can even change their size and shape for better use. His mother was also the wielder of these chains and used them to stop the rampage of Kuruma 11 years ago. Naruto has already learned how to manifest the chains and now is merely working to see how he can effectively use them and master them completely. The chains are the direct manifestation of not only your chakra, but your will too. Your chakra is used only to give them form and sustain them for as long as you can, but it is your will that controls them. There is no limit to how many chains you can manifest or how long as you have the required amount of chakra, but the more you manifest them, the harder it becomes to control them. You can use them to create a barrier or mark anything it touches with your sealing formulas. You can channel your chakra through them and also change its nature to complement the chains. You already know about suppressing qualities. You have learned how to manifest them much faster than what I thought, but it's best that you understand them fully before you go around experimenting with them. Debbie finished with a sigh. Knowing Naruto, he will sit still until he goes to the mindscape and starts practicing with them. So it was up to her to make sure that he has understood the technique before he does something terrible like that one time when he blowed his own face while creating a new sealing tag. Naruto listened well to Devi whenever she was talking, and to Kuruma too. It is hard for Naruto to remain still, but he knows that whatever they are telling him is for his own good, so he calms his nerves and just listens to them. "I understood everything you were telling me," Naruto replied to Devi, but she could say anything else he cut her off. "Yes, I will not experiment with this technique without you, or Kuruma, and yes, I will make sure that I don't go overboard with the technique. Can I leave for the academy now?" He finished with his hands in the air. "Yes, you can leave, my prince," Devi replied with a huff. Devi sighed again, but smiled, ruffling his hair. Their relationship has improved significantly over time. In only 2 years, Naruto has learned so much just because of Devi. He has a family in the form of Kuruma, because of her, and a legacy to follow. Naruto knows who his mother is, but he never met her and has only heard a little about her from Kuruma. Even still, he loves her and misses her. But now Naruto has Devi, and although he has never said it out loud, she is like his mother too. She is the mother of all Uzumaki, but more to Naruto. Before her, everything was just blank in his life, but now it is filled with the colors of Uzumaki, and all thanks to her. He can never express how thankful he is to her, but he doesn't need to because she knows the way she looks at him, full of love and affection the same way Naruto looks at her. Although Devi always comes off as loving and calm, Naruto also sees the loneliness hidden behind those eyes of hers. He can sense the longing she had for the one she loved. How cruel can fate be to someone to make them apart from the one they promised to be together? Naruto promises her that he will free her from the curse put on her, and he will do it no matter what it takes. That was what he was thinking when Kuruma called him and he entered his mindscape. "What do you need, Kuruma?" Naruto asked as soon as he entered his mindscape. Kurama looked at the tiny human in front of him. To think that he would again trust another human. But Naruto has proved again and again that he is truly different with the way he treats Kuruma like a family, with how he talks to him, and always makes sure to ask him for permission before doing anything. Kuruma is starting to feel an emotion he hadn't felt ever since Devi left him. An emotion that he belongs somewhere. An emotion that he is not alone, but has someone who cares about him as much he cares about them, and that freaked him out. To think the mighty Nine-Tails Fox Demon would be considering a human as his family, but this is what has happened, and Kuruma didn't regret a bit feeling like this. Now Kuruma is also able to meet another family member, his sister. And although he is happy to have her back, he also knows that she shouldn't be here, just like Naruto. She is supposed to move on from this world to the next and be with the one she loves. Naruto has promised her that he will free her from that mask, and Kuruma intends to help him achieve that. so far that have been clueless to how to even attempt to release her from that mask, and even Devi, who at first didn't want her to leave them again, agreed, after much convincing from both him and Naruto, that although they will miss her, they are happy to help her be with the family that she is missing for more than 1,000 of years. Couldn't explain how the mask worked. But now he had an idea on how to go forward with their mission to free Devi, and that is why he is called Naruto, because only he can achieve it. Naruto, I might have found how to free Devi. He explained to Naruto, who looked like his whole world was turned upside down. Shock turned to happiness, and he was bouncing in front of him in no time. Before he could get ahead of him, Kuruma stopped him. I'm not saying I have the answer, but a way to get to the answer. Kuruma stopped Naruto's excitement train before it was too late and waited for him to calm down. Naruto looked at the large creature inside him. Ever since they have met, they have been searching for a way to release Devi from the mask. All three of them used all of their knowledge, but there was no answer to the question, and now Kuruma is saying that he might have found a way. Naruto couldn't believe how great this day was. Finally, he will be able to fulfill his promise to Devi, but now he is saying that he just found a way to get the answer they needed, but that is still better than nothing. Tell me, what are you waiting for? He asked excitedly. Finally, a lead towards their goal. He just can't wait to see what Kuruma has thought. Kuruma knew that this would exactly be how Naruto would respond. Once again, Naruto proved to him that he was indeed different. He doesn't care about himself as long as he can help the ones he cares about, and that makes him special. We know Lord Aizen was the one who made the mask in hopes of meeting her wife when the gods decided to enslave her soul inside the mask and seize all the powers that Lord Aizen had, and so he couldn't stop the god from sealing his wife. But now we know that he has gained his powers back. When your father foolishly summoned him to seal me inside of you, I sensed the same power inside of him that he always wielded. We don't know how the mask was created or how to break the curse that is put upon it, but he knows since he is the creator of it. So to find how to free Devi, all you need to do is summon Aizen and ask him, and maybe he will give us the answer we so desperately need. That was just brilliant. No matter how you look at it, this is the best solution that they could think of. Naruto hit himself in the face for not thinking of it sooner. You are right, Kuruma. All we need is to summon him and ask him directly how to undo the sealing that binds Devi to the mask, and I am sure he will be happy to help. Naruto is grinning like a fool. Finally, they have a lead towards fulfilling his promise to Devi. He just can't wait to tell her about it. As soon as he is out of the academy, he is going straight to the masked temple and summoning Lord Aizen to ask him the answers he so desperately needs. Naruto looks towards Kurama and their eyes meet. They both share a smile, which offers hope for a better future. Everything was set. Naruto and Kurama told of their plan to summon Lord Aizen for answers to Devi. She was reluctant at first, but seeing their hope and happiness, she couldn't deny them. Devi taught Naruto how to use the Shinigami mask and all the necessary things related to it. Naruto already knew how to use all the other masks, and now he knows how to use this one too. It took only a day for Naruto to completely understand the Shinigami mask created by Lord Aizen. It not only gives you the ability to summon the Shinigami, but also to use a portion of their power. This is why those of Uzumaki blood who summon the Shinigami while wearing the mask don't have to sacrifice themselves to the death god. His mother knew how to summon the Shinigami, but not about the Shinigami mask, and that is why although his father was able to summon the death god to split and seal Kurama inside of him, he had to sacrifice himself in return for using these powers. But since Naruto has both the mask and Uzumaki blood, he doesn't need to fear any sacrifice. All he needs to do is perform the ritual as taught to him by Devi while wearing the mask, and soon Lord Aizen will grace him with his divine presence. Listen, Naruto, once you start the ritual, I won't be able to be here. Due to the gods punishing me, both me and Aizen can't be together in any form at any place, not until the curse is lifted. Both Devi and Naruto are inside the Uzumaki mask shrine. Naruto is wearing a white ceremonial kimono with a huge Uzumaki swirl on its back in black and red, and there are sea waves-like designs all over the kimono. The Uzumaki Mask Shrine is a magical place all by itself. Because of the importance of this place, only those of Uzumaki blood can enter it. Not only that, the shrine acts as a gateway to Uzushio from anywhere to anyone who has Uzumaki blood. During the siege of Uzushio, the priest of the shrine used her fuinjutsu powers to transfer the shrine into a space completely removed from their world. All the information that the Uzumaki has gathered over the years, from sealing to techniques to simple cooking recipes, are stored safely inside the shrine, and it has a seal located in its center, which is a two-way portal to Uzushio and back to the shrine. The space in which the shrine exists is only accessible to Uzumaki chakra. That is why, as long as Naruto is inside the shrine, no one can find him no matter how hard they look. And that is why, no matter where you are in the elemental nations, as long as you have the Uzumaki blood, you have the ability to access the shrine and enter Uzushio. But because Uzushio is locked up by all that barriers, no other Uzumaki has been able to access the shrine, and Naruto is only able to do so because of the mark on his hand. Devi has already told him everything he needs to know about Uzushio and Uzumaki. She told him how to cook and read. She told him how to write a seal or create them. She taught him his first jutsu. Naruto has family all because of her, and one part of him wants to keep her with forever, but he knows that he is being selfish. She has every right to be free of this curse. He promised her that he will free her from this nightmare, and now he is going to do so. He will miss her for sure, but her freedom is more important than his selfish desires, and he is Kurama too, so he won't be completely lonely. So, the moment you start the process, I will go back inside the mask again. I'm telling you this so that you don't get panicked and stop the ritual. Once Aizen is in front of you, his presence might startle you, but do not forget that he is your family and ask him whatever you want. Understood? Devi told him one final time. She hated it that she had to do this. She hates that she has to help Naruto and Kurama find how to free her. She doesn't want to leave them again, but she also wants to be free of this curse and be with the one she loves again. How long has it been since she saw Aizen? Maybe it won't be so bad. Naruto has Kurama, and Kurama has Naruto. Neither will be alone again. She doesn't know what to feel, but the smile on Naruto's face told her that she doesn't need to worry. The time has come for her to finally rest and leave the future to the next generation. As soon as Naruto started the ritual, Devi disappeared from view, and the air around him became cold. Darkness surrounded him, the very wall of the shrines shaking. Soon the ritual ended, and nothing happened at first. Naruto thought something might have gone wrong, or might have done something wrong, but before he could even finish the thought, a strong and powerful feeling overcame all of his senses. Fear gripped his heart, and it felt like he was going to choke. Breathing became difficult, and his whole body became sweaty. An invisible force was upon him, whispering in his ears to submit, to fall for the pressure, but he stood firm. He was Naruto Uzumaki, and this was his ancestors' powers. He isn't going to buckle under the pressure. Instead, he will face him head-on to make sure to convey to Lord Aizen that although small, he is still worthy of being an Uzumaki. Aizen looked around the shrine. He knows who summoned him, and how could he not when he was the one who promised his birth to his family? The shrine brought back all the memories, whether it be the good ones or the bad ones. Naruto is still standing firm despite being subjected to his immense power. Not everyone can withstand his raw pressure, not even if you are an Uzumaki, and seeing that Naruto can only be filled with pride. To think that his descendants will be this strong at such a tender age too. Look up, dear child. You have proved yourself to me, and it fills me with pride to see that you possess a will even more firm than me. It is with great joy that I finally get to meet you, young Naruto, for I have been waiting for you to summon me ever since you were born. So now face me and answer me, why have you summoned me, dear child? Aizen spoke with authority, but with a hint of affection. The pressure is finally off of him. Naruto can breathe easily again. He looked up only to see the beautiful and charming god that Devi described, not the Shinigami that was painted on the mask. Even their description didn't do justice to Lord Aizen, for he is far more divine than what Naruto previously thought. His hairs, his eyes, and especially his voice, they all are filled with power and grace that is not earthly. No wonder Devi fell for him. Halting his thoughts, and after catching his breath, he kneeled down in front of the god that he had just summoned and spoke in a tone full of admiration and respect. Although you already know me, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I am Devi's direct descendant. It is my honor to finally meet the All-Father. I have summoned you to ask only 2 questions of which I needed the answers desperately, and it will be a great beneficence on me if you could help me, my lord. Naruto is still kneeling while he tries to convey as much of his desperation and respect as he could. He wanted Aizen to help him not because he feels obliged to do so, but because he wants to. Aizen looked at the kneeling boy in front of him. He heard not only his words, but the feelings behind them. Aizen waited for a few minutes before speaking again. "Look me in the eyes, descendant of Devi," he spoke, and Naruto looked him in the eyes for the first time since he had arrived. Power beyond his comprehension is hidden behind those eyes, and Naruto can only imagine the might that the All-Father wields. Every hair on Naruto's body is standing, and he is getting goosebumps all over his body because of the sheer presence of Lord Aizen. Naruto thought that Kurama was ridiculously powerful, but he is nothing compared to the deity standing in front of him. Even without doing anything, the Shinigami is forcing Naruto to bow down to his power, and he understands that someone who wields power such as this can only be considered as a god. "I waited many years for your birth, little prince, for I had already foreseen your birth. When your father summoned me that day, I recognized immediately who you were, but at that time, it was unwise of me to say anything to your parents. Everyone is born with a destiny they need to fulfill and role to play in this great play of life. And even though I knew how hard your life is going to be, I couldn't do anything to change it, because it would have been a misuse of powers. How we live and the circumstances that surround us shape us and what we become in the future. Your life until now has not been easy, and I believe, although it has been a cruel experience, it has also given you many important lessons." Naruto listened carefully to what the All-Father was saying. He already knew that the Shinigami knew one was when he was born, and how could he not, since he was the one who promised his birth? He understands what the Shinigami is saying. It would have angered the gods if he had used information not meant to be known by mortals to change his life, and although Naruto has some hard feelings regarding his life, he doesn't deny the fact that it has greatly helped Naruto. If he missed living with his parents, he is glad that he met Devi and Kurama too. Naruto has learned many things because of the way his life has been, and Naruto is only thankful to Devi and Kurama for loving him and making his life much more enjoyable than before. I can see that you understand what I'm trying to say, young Uzumaki, and I'm glad that you do. Now you have permission to ask your questions, little one, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. The All-Father finished speaking, and Naruto braced himself. Naruto got up from his kneeling posting and took a deep breath. He looked at the Tengu mask that has become a part of him. He didn't know when the last time he was without the mask was when he was not sleeping or eating. Devi is someone who has become far more important to Naruto than he ever thought possible, and even if it pains him to think of living without her, he has to do this because this is the only way he can free her. Naruto looked at the All-Father with all the determination he could gather and asked, "I have only 2 questions, my lord. How can I free Lady Devi from the Tengu mask, and how can I get the other half of Kurama back that is sealed inside of you?" He finished and waited for the All-Father to say something. The Shinigami waited for a few minutes before answering him. "You have asked some interesting questions, and I have the answers to both of these questions, but before I answer them, you have to answer my questions too. Why do you want to free Devi, and why do you need the other half of Kurama? If your answers satisfy me, only then will I tell you the answers to your questions. So tell me, young Uzumaki, what your answers are." Naruto doesn't even think about the answer to these questions. He has been thinking about it ever since he met Devi and Kurama. He looked the Shinigami in the eyes and answered, "I have not been imprisoned ever, but even then I know the feeling of being caged. I could never talk to anyone or go anywhere without someone reminding me that I was not wanted, and yet I couldn't get why they would treat me like that, and I felt trapped and hollow. Trapped in this village, surrounded by everyone who hates me, and then I met Devi. She changed me and my life. She showed me what it felt when you're loved unconditionally like parents love their children, and it liberated me from my chains. I met Karama, who became my family, and it filled me with so much warmth that it didn't matter anymore that Konoha hated me. All that mattered was Karama and Devi. I love them, and because I love them, I want them to be happy. Karama doesn't want any more to leave the seal that binds him to me, but I want to make sure that he gets his freedom, and that will not only make him happy, but me too. Debbie doesn't want to leave me either, but the only way for her to move on from this mortal plane and be with the one she loves, and for that to happen, I need to free her from this curse. This is why I want you to tell me how to free Devi from this mask, and how to get Karama's other half back from you. Naruto finished speaking and waited for the All-Father. Naruto felt warmth from within him that can only come from Karama, and although Devi is not present, he can easily imagine her smiling face. Aizen looked at the little child in front of him and smiled. Every word that the boy has spoken is filled with pure truth and love. He can see that there isn't even a hint of a lie there. The boy has given him what he needed. Well said, young Uzumaki, well said. You have not only satisfied me with your answers, but also filled me with great pride to see someone so true to their words. I am truly proud of you, my descendant. Now I will give you your answers. The night when you were born, your father used a jutsu to summon me. He then proceeded to use my powers to split Kurama into two halves, one yang and one yin, and offered himself as a sacrifice to use my powers. The one inside of you is yang. To get the other half of Kurama is to use the ritual blade to cut through my stomach and summon the other half of Kurama back to this realm. As for your other question, when I created the mask, it was simply to summon Devi's soul, but when God learned of the mask, they sealed her inside the mask and put a curse on it, so that me and her can never meet again. Since I was the one who created the mask, and now that I have all my powers back, I can release her from it, but I cannot remove the curse that is placed on it. Naruto heard the answers and frowned. He was very, very happy to learn how to get Kurama's other half back. All he needs to do is use the ritual sword to cut through the Shinigami's stomach and summon the Yin Kurama, but to learn that even the Shinigami can't remove the curse on the mask has dampened all his happiness. He is back to square one. Summoning the All-Father for answers was their last bet, and he doesn't know what to do now that they still don't know how to free Devi. Aizen watched the turmoil inside Naruto with an amused smile. He is happy to see the child so committed to his cause. Before Naruto's thoughts could spiral out of control, he interrupted him. Naruto, no need to get so worked up like this, he said to Naruto, who looked at him with a confused expression. He smiled a little and continued. I am the one who cannot do anything about the curse, but you can do it. You can remove the curse placed upon the mask, and once the curse is removed, I will release Devi from the mask. The Shinigami finished, and Naruto's smile returned with full force. It was like watching the sun rise full of warmth and brightness. Naruto couldn't believe his luck. Not only will he be able to get the other half of, but also free Devi. He couldn't wait anymore. He can remove the curse, and he will do it right now. Thank you for your knowledge, my lord. You said that I can remove the curse that is placed upon a mask, but how can I do it? Please help me with this too. Naruto asked the Shinigami. The curse is used to trap Devi and bar her from meeting the one she loves. It will need an equal power to remove the curse. You have to find what that power is and use it to remove it. I can only tell you that you already have the answers. Aizen answered. Naruto heard what the Shinigami answered. Naruto has to use an equal power to that of the curse to remove it, and he already has the answer, but as far as Naruto's mind could go, he couldn't think of anything he can use to remove the curse. His sealing couldn't be the answer because there is no seal on the mask. The curse is put by the gods, and Naruto doesn't have god powers, so what could it be? He thought long and hard, yet no answer came to his mind. He tried to enter the mindscape, but couldn't form some reason. His call to Kurama was answered, and for some reason, he knows it has something to do with the Shinigami. Now Naruto has no one to help him, and he feels scared and alone. What if he couldn't find the answer? Would Devi be angry? Knowing her, she wouldn't even think of blaming Naruto, but he will blame himself if he couldn't find the answer. He thought of Devi. He thought of her long, flowing hair and beautiful eyes. He thought of her divine smile. Everything about her was perfect, and Naruto couldn't think anyone could be more beautiful than her. She was the one person that Naruto loved more than anything. While Naruto was thinking of Devi, he felt the mark on his palm vibrate with a warm sensation, and it all finally connected in his mind. He knows what the answer is. He is sure of it. The mark felt more and more warm as his resolve came back. Naruto felt its power coursing through him. I have found the answer to the curse, my lord, and I would like to remove the curse so that you can free Devi from a mask. My only request is that we do it right now and in Yuzushio. Yuzushio is the place where she was sealed, and I would like to free her there too, so as she leaves this world, her last moments are in the home that she built with you. Naruto said happily but respectfully to the death god. Aizen saw the resolve and smiled. He has been waiting for this day for centuries. He knows that Naruto has the answer, and finally Devi will be free from his foolish mistake. With a flick of his finger, they were on the island of Yuzushio. He can still remember everything about the island and the village that he created. Naruto looked around himself. Yuzushio has seen so much and lost so much, but today Naruto will at least give the island a little happiness by freeing the one who founded the village. First, Naruto took the ritual blade and used it to cut the Shinigami's stomach. Naruto felt the power behind the knife. He commanded the blade to bring the other half of Kurama. It took a moment before a great, powerful force knocked him out of his feet. Energy started pouring out of the death god's stomach, and he watched slowly as it took the form of the nine-tailed fox. It was just as tall and big as Kurama, but only a little dark in color. The nine-tailed fox looked around before seeing the familiar face of Aizen. He can recognize the island where he was. So someone has summoned the Shinigami to free him. He looked at the little boy on his back staring at him with awe, but instead of feeling the negativity from the boy, he only felt love and affection from him. Kurama was confused, but before he could say or do anything, the Shinigami touched him, and in an instant he knew everything about Devi and Naruto. He knew about how and why he is here and who made it possible for him to be here free from the death god's belly. He looked at Naruto with a smile and sat down. Naruto felt so happy seeing the other Kurama. It felt weird because now he can feel one Kurama inside of him while there is one outside. He found he could talk to Kurama inside of him again when he thanked him. Naruto smiled, but the work isn't done. There is much more to do today. He took hold of the Tengu mask with one hand and placed a mark on his hand over it. Aizen created the mask so that he and her family will be able to summon her soul whenever they want. Not only was this against nature, but it was a selfish desire of Lord Aizen. In his selfishness, he was the one who sealed Devi inside the mask, and the gods put the curse upon it. Love, as Naruto knows, can only be selfish to help the one you love, not to imprison them. Naruto needs to break the curse by showing the love that he feels for Devi, the love in which he doesn't want or need anything from her. Even if she won't be here anymore, Naruto will love her the same, because love is something far more pure and powerful than any other thing in the world. Naruto thought of Devi. He thought about what she meant to him. He thought of his desire to see her smile and finally be free. He wants to free her not because she wants to be free or because he needs something in return to free her. All Naruto wants is for her to be happy because he loves her. The mark pulsed with power underneath his hand. The wind started blowing like a tornado was forming. He can hear the waves crashing against the island of Yuzushio. It suddenly got cold and dark. Naruto held on tight to the mask. His hands felt like they were on fire, but he held on. The mask started shaking like a leaf, and a bright light started coming out of the mask. Aizen saw this with great wonder. This child in front of him has done what was once impossible to Aizen. He knew how to remove the curse from the mask, but he needed someone who loved Devi as much as he loved her, but without any desire to get anything from her. a love so selfless that even the gods had to bow down to its might. And Naruto loves Devi as such. This child who knew Devi for only a handful of years has felt such immense love for her that this very world is shaking by its power. Aizen touched the mask and undid absorbed his powers back. As soon as Aizen absorbed his powers back, a crack formed on the mask, and it got divided into two parts. Naruto looked at Aizen with sweat running down his entire body. He didn't think this would be so intense. His hands feels like they're getting pinched by thousands of blades. At first, nothing happened, and slowly a figure appeared, and in the same way as Aizen appeared. Devi was there, standing next to Aizen with tears in her eyes. Naruto, too, was crying. Finally, she is free from that curse. He has done it. The promise that he made to her all those years ago is finally fulfilled. He fell to his knees, breathing heavily. It felt like he was going to die, but even if he died, there is still something he needs to do. He closed his eyes and went to his mindscape. Kurama looked at the tiny body of Naruto. The boy has done the impossible. Not only has he brought his other half back, he has also freed Devi from her curse. Kurama wanted to help him, but he couldn't reach him, but somehow Naruto had found the answer to the curse. He felt Naruto's emotions better than anyone, and when he felt the love Naruto felt for Devi, even a 1,000-year-old creature was stumped. You have done it, Naruto. I am so happy and proud that I couldn't even express it. For the first time in my long life, I have seen something so wonderful and pure. Thank you for everything that you have done. Kurama needed Naruto to know how much gratitude he felt towards him. After facing all the hardships and cruelty, he is still so selfless and pure. If any deserves Kurama's respect after his family, it is Naruto, and well, Naruto too is his family. Naruto looked at Kurama and smiled at his words. But the promise isn't complete because not only Devi was trapped, so was Kurama, and he promised both that he would free them. Another reason behind his request to come here, Yazushio, is to do with fulfilling both of his promises today. Kurama, the time has come. Devi will be leaving soon, and I want you to say goodbye to her, but not as Seal Biju, but as her free brother. Your other half is free, and now it is time for you to gain your freedom too. I need your help, Kurama, to free you. Will you help me? Naruto asked the mighty Nine-Tails Fox. Kurama, for the first time since his Devi died, shed tears. This boy is a gift. He felt speechless, and all he could do was nod his head and wait for Naruto to do what he promised. He wanted to remain inside Naruto for all his life, and he already stated his desire in the past, but Naruto has told him again and again that as long as he is sealed inside of him, Naruto will never feel truly happy. Naruto got up from his place inside the seal and walked towards the cage that held Kurama. When he reached the gates, Kurama's chakra surrounded him and lifted him to the paper that worked as a lock on the cage. He reached the paper with his right hand and tore it off in one swing. Kurama held himself and his chakra as soon as the seal was destroyed. He knows that if he leaves now, Naruto might die. He waited for Naruto to finish what he had started. Naruto opens his eyes in the real world. Both Devi and Aizen are looking at him with affection in their eyes. Naruto stood up and reached the Ine Kurama. With one hand, he touched his belly, and with the other, he fist bumped the Ine Kurama, who obliged to his intentions with a grateful smile. Let go, Kurama. He called to the Nine-Tails Fox, and soon felt power like a hot, raging tsunami flowing inside of him. The mark on his hand started pulsing again. He willed his mind to control the flowing lava inside of him. He controlled the flow outside of his body into the Ine Kurama. Hot, bubbling orange energy started flowing from him to the Ine half of Kurama, and in just a few minutes, Kurama growed twice in size and now orange-colored. They're both free. Naruto's family is free. Finally, his promises are fulfilled. Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but before he could even utter a word, he felt darkness overtaking him. He closed his eyes as he fell unconscious, but with a smile on his face. All three remaining presents watched the chosen one fall on the ground and waited for him to regain consciousness so that they can thank the child who helped the adults. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to see white, bright sky. He tried to remember where he was and what happened when the memories of his last actions filled his mind, and with them the pain recurred throughout his body. He felt weak and fatigued and tried to speak, but no sound came from him. His mouth was dry and body aching. A hand offered him a wooden canteen full of water to drink. He looked up to see Devi as the owner of said hand. She was smiling at him with her beautiful smile, and Naruto returned it with all his heart. It took some time, but everything is in order again. He remembers what has happened recently, how he fulfilled both the promises he made to his family, and how no longer any of his family is caged. He remembers why his body was aching, but why he felt so full of energy and happiness. Lord Aizen is standing right above him as he is laid in the lap of Devi. Kurama is sitting a short distance from him while slowly swinging his tails. All three of them are looking at him with expressions full of affection and eyes full of pride. Naruto felt shy all of a sudden, but couldn't stop himself from smiling ear to ear. "How long was I out?" he asked while looking at his hands. There is some pain in his body, but laying in Devi's lap is far more comfortable than any discomfort in the world. "1 full day, my prince," Devi replies, and his eyes go wide with the information. To think he was unconscious for the whole day is scary, but he is lucky to even be alive after what he has done. Anyone who has a Biju sealed inside them dies immediately after the Biju is removed, but not the Uzumaki, because they're just that awesome. But even without this information, he would have done exactly what he had done to fulfill his promise to Kurama. Suddenly, he realized something didn't make sense. Devi is still here, and so is Lord Aizen. While he is happy to see them both, but he thought she would have passed on to the afterlife after being freed from the curse to meet her family. But before he could question his thoughts, Lord Aizen spoke, as if reading his mind. "We couldn't leave without saying a proper goodbye. Young Uzumaki and Devi would never forgive me if I didn't give her the chance to say her parting words to you." Devi is brushing her hand through his hairs, which are the same color as her with watery eyes. Naruto looked at her with all the love he felt for her. She held his hand in her as she spoke. "All of my time, while I was trapped inside that mask, I waited for the one that was promised, and then you came that day running straight towards me. From the moment when I saw you, I was in absolutely love with you. You were my own blood and my family. All those years that I spent alone and in agony were nothing against the happiness I felt when I was with you. You not only filled every moment I spent with you with love and smiles, but with hope too. Because of you, I was able to hope again for a better future where I would be able to meet the love of my life and be free from God's curse. You promised me something impossible, and yet you fulfilled it even though it was heartbreaking for you, and for all that I thank you, my young prince. I thank you for meeting me and for loving me. I thank you for freeing my brother Kurama and making him whole again, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with the one I love. So Naruto Uzumaki, Prince of the Storm and Whirlpool, I Devi Uzumaki, the founder of Uzushio, thank you for everything you have done for me." By the time she stopped speaking, both Naruto and Devi were crying freely. He got up and took her into a big hug. Lord Aizen and Kurama watched the scene in front of them with affectionate eyes, yet no one uttered a word to disturb them. They don't know how long they cried or hugged each other, but when he let go of her, it still felt a little too soon. Maybe it was because the inevitable moment is coming. Naruto has been ignoring this feeling ever since he laid his eyes on her, but he knows very soon she's going to say goodbye, and that would be it. The next time he will be able to see her would be in the afterlife, and that just makes him sad. She would no longer be there, just waiting for him to put the mask on and welcome her into his life, to help his worries and encourage his achievements. Naruto will wake up tomorrow and every other day after that, and there would be no Devi to greet him. And there would be no Kurama either, he thought as he looked at the giant nine-tailed fox. He is so used to seeing the fox inside him that looking at him while he is just sitting is weird. No longer will there be a voice in his head talking to him or guiding him through his day. He knows he won't be alone again, and he can visit Kurama whenever he wants, but it wouldn't be the same again. Maybe his thoughts surfaced on his face again because both Devi and Karama looked at him with eyes, saying they felt the same. Devi looked at the child in her arms and felt immense pride and love. The thought of regaining her freedom again seemed so impossible to her that she lost all of her hope for the future, but this child of hers had promised that he would free her, and he did. His love for her was so great that he even overpowered God's will and freed both her and her brother. She knows that now that she is free, she needs to leave this mortal plane for the other world, but she just couldn't bring her heart to let go of her prince. How could she leave him again to be just by himself while she goes to meet her family and be with the one she loves? His eyes spoke of the same story. Both held each other tightly, and neither wanted to let go of the other, even though they know that it was a futile attempt on their part. This was the sacrifice that they needed to make for her freedom, and she didn't like it. Whenever the topic of her freedom came in the past, Naruto assured her again and again that although he will miss her, but he still will do it, because that's what he wants. So Devi respected his wishes, and now she just couldn't bear the thought of leaving her child. She looked at Aizen to convey her emotions through her eyes, and he gave her a sad smile. Even he cannot change the laws of nature. Whether she wants to or not, she has to leave Naruto now that she is a free soul. She tightened her grip on Naruto a little and kissed his hair. She wanted to convey how much love she had for him in just this small amount of time, and judging by the grateful smile he gave her, Naruto understood it all. Kurama looked at the scene and thought of the day Devi died and left him alone, and once again he felt great sadness in his heart, thinking that again his sister is going to leave him, but this time he won't be alone because he has Naruto this time. He looked at the boy with wonder. When he first met the boy, he knew that he was special, but to think that this little boy has not only given him his freedom, but freed his sister too from the curse, and now they both are free thanks to Naruto. Kurama loves Naruto. It is a fact that he has never said aloud, but something that both him and Naruto knows, but now not only does he love him, but respect him too. He respects that Naruto always keeps his word no matter what, and he respects the indomitable will that the boy possesses. Naruto still has a hard road ahead of him if he wants to rebuild Uzushio, but if anyone can do it, surely it will be Naruto. The time is near when Devi will leave, and he cannot go back to Konoha to be with Naruto like he was before leaving the seal. Naruto can visit him whenever he wants, but it won't be the same, and as his eyes meet that of the boys, he knows that Naruto is thinking the same thing. It's time, Devi. We already overstayed our time here, but now we must go. I know this is hard for you, and it is hard for me too to leave Naruto, but we cannot stay here. Say you farewell, my love, and then we can move to the afterlife. Aizen finished with a heavy heart. He has to leave his family again, but this time at least he knows that it won't be as bad as the last time. Devi looked at the boy in her arms and thought of the first day she met him. How small and scared he was of her, and how very soon he accepted her and loved her without asking anything in return. She stood up slowly with Naruto still in her embrace and walked up to Kurama. The giant fox seems unaffected by all this, but she can clearly see in his eyes the sadness he tries to hide. With a small, sad smile on her face, she spoke her final words to her family. It pains my heart to leave you too, but I cannot stay. I cannot express how much I am thankful to you both. I'm going to meet my family again, all because of you two, so thank you for giving me the opportunity to be free again. Thank you for loving me without asking anything in return, Devi said with as much emotion as she can put into words. She then turned to face Kurama and spoke. Just like last time, I'm leaving you again, and I'm sorry for that, but I want you to know that I'll miss you and that you always were and will be my family. Promise me that you will take care of yourself and my family. Promise that you'll help Naruto in everything that he needs, and promise me that you'll always love me. Her voice hitched with every word she spoke. Tears were flowing freely from her eyes. Kurama looked at her little sister and spoke with a heavy yet love-filled heart, I promise. Devi smiled and turned her eyes to Naruto one more time. Now it is time for me to leave, but before I go, there is something all three of us want to give you, my dear child, so please step back a little. Naruto stepped back a little and watched with confused eyes as Devi Lord Aizen, and Kurama all came forward to join their fists. They all had a small smile on their faces as a silver light started emerging from Lord Aizen's hand, and soon it was met with the red chakra of Devi and orange chakra of Kurama. Slowly and steadily, all three energies mixed together to form a shape of something like a sword, but Naruto couldn't be sure because all of the brightness from the energy. After waiting for a few minutes, the energies stopped mixing and the brightness ceased, and now Naruto could clearly see the gift they had prepared for him. It was a beautiful long sword with a dark black blade. There's also a big black and red Uzumaki swirl, which is connecting the blade with the handle, which is silver-colored, but with lining running across it in gold color. The blade guard is in the shape of two fox heads, one blood red and one dark orange, just like Kurama facing the opposite direction. Some red-colored symbols, just like fuinjutsu, are written on the middle of the blade on both sides. The moment the sword materialized in front of Naruto, he was in love with it. It was almost absolutely perfect. He looked at Devi, Lord Aizen, and Kurama, still joining their fists, and smiled a grateful smile with watery eyes. I was the one who first taught the Uzumaki how to wield swords. This blade has the very essence of me engraved in it. This can only be wielded by those who share your blood and chakra. I hope that it serves you well, young Uzumaki. Aizen explained the wonder that Naruto is looking at. He gave a moment so that Naruto could observe the sword before continuing. Now it is time for me to leave, so this is goodbye for me, dear child. I bless you to be able to achieve your dreams. I bless you to live a long life worthy of an Uzumaki. I bless you, Naruto Uzumaki, to always be happy. And with those parting words, Lord Aizen disappeared from his eyes and went back to where he belonged. Naruto just bowed his head as the All-Father gave him his blessings and a gift worthy for an Uzumaki. Naruto will never use this blade only for his personal gain, but to help others defend those who cannot defend themselves. It was me who the Sage of Six Paths himself created when he divided the 10 tails. I am a being made up completely of chakra and nothing else. Now that I am no longer sealed inside you, I will not be able to help you like I did before, and while you go back to Konoha, I will be here all alone. And so to make things more comfortable and easy for both us with the help of Aizen and Devi, I have imbued the blade with my chakra. As long as you hold the blade, you'll be able to communicate with me no matter where you are. Since you're familiar with my chakra, it will be easy to flow your own chakra through the blade, and it will also help you absorb and store any chakra that the blade comes in contact with. Kurama spoke next, and to know that even after being freed from his seal, Naruto will be able to talk to the Nine Tails is better than even the blade. Naruto is so happy after hearing that he couldn't stop himself smiling from ear to ear while looking at Kurama, who just gave him a smile mirroring his own and backs away to give the last one remaining some space. Naruto looked at Devi, who was the last one out of the three to speak. She asked him to come forward, and he did. Devi handed him the sword, and Naruto realized that the sword is much heavier than what he previously thought and a little long for his current height, but it didn't matter. All that mattered was that it was a gift from the people he loves, and he will cherish it more than anything in his life. I was the one who founded Yuzushio with Aizen and taught our followers and children fuinjutsu. This blade contains not only my chakra, but all my love for you and my family. I have inscribed this blade with my own fuinjutsu creations. You will be able to summon the blade from anywhere you are and teleport yourself to the blade, no matter the distance. On the suggestion of Big Brother Kurama, I have connected the blade directly to his chakra, so as long as it absorbs the right amount of chakra needed, you will be able to call him. Naruto looked in complete awe at the blade in his hands. The more he listens, the more amazing this thing becomes. He understood everything explained to him by Devi and Kurama, but what does she mean by saying that he will be able to call him with the right amount of chakra? He asks her his confusion, which makes her smile a little playfully. It means that whenever you want, you're able to summon Kurama. We both know that the future is filled with danger, even for a normal shinobi, but even more for someone like you. I won't be here any longer, and even though we both want for you to be the strongest shinobi ever. There is nothing wrong with taking help from someone to achieve your goals, and especially when that someone is your own family. This is too much. Naruto has gotten the best present anyone has ever gotten. This blade is the most perfect thing in the world. Naruto will never be alone now as long as he has the blade. He can talk to Kurama whenever he wants, and he'll be able to summon him whenever he needs, and that's just awesome. Naruto can't wait to try it out. He is so happy looking at the most beautiful thing anyone has ever given him that he almost forgets that Devi is leaving. Almost. He looks up and sees Devi's soul is surrounded by a bright, white energy. She gave him a smile, which tells him that a time has come. Even Kurama stood up from where he was sitting, but didn't speak, and Naruto didn't know what to do. Devi is leaving him, and he doesn't know what to say. There were so many things he needed to say, but words failed to come out of his mouth, and all that came was the sound of his tears. Devi smiled as she looked at the boy who is the future of her home and her family. This is hard for her too, but she didn't want her last moments with Naruto to be filled with only tears. She braced herself and gave Naruto a smile full of all the love she could muster. Don't worry, Naruto. There is no need for words because I already know what you want to say. Once again, I thank you for freeing me and my brother. I thank you for loving me, my prince. As I am about to leave this world, there are thousands of things I want to say to you, but we don't have time. So I want you to know the most important thing before I leave, my child. Naruto watched as she slowly started flowing in the air. He ran to catch her, hoping to stop her, but his hands passed right through. As Devi spoke her last words to him, he clung to every one of them. I want you to know that I have always loved you and believed in you, dear Naruto. I believe in your dreams and in your goals. I believe that you will rebuild Uzushio and bring the clan together. I believe that you will defend those who need your protection and help all those who need your help. I believe that one day you will grow up to be a strong but kind shinobi. I believe that one day you will be a just and firm leader, but also full of compassion for those who you lead. I believe in you, Naruto Uzumaki, and as I leave, I want you to know that no matter what happens and no matter what you do in life, I will always love you. Tears were trying to escape her eyes, but she held them back with all the force she could muster. The last thing she wants them to see is her smiling face with eyes full of love, not tears. She looked at Kurama from Naruto and continued. I left you last time, and I am leaving you again, but this time I have the opportunity to say my farewell to you. You have always been my big brother and will always be. When I was little, you were the most amazing thing in the world, and that hasn't changed a bit. I wish I had more time with you, but I don't have even that luxury now. So as I leave, I want you to know how much your love meant to me. After my father died, I always looked up to you not only as my big brother, but also as the elder of the family. Kurama couldn't hold back the tears. The little girl who used to ride him has grown so much before his very eyes, and at last, she is free to move on from her cursed life, all thanks to Naruto. He wanted to say something too, but she interrupted him before he could even open his mouth. Devi now looked at both Kurama and Naruto. She could feel that in only a few moments, she would leave for the afterlife. She looked at the giant fox who was her family and a child who she loved more than anything else in the world. Her body glowed with a golden hue, and she started disappearing from their eyes, but before she left there were still some words to be said. Her final words to Naruto and Kurama. Thank you, Naruto, Kurama, for loving me. This is a farewell, my child. I pray you both live a life full of warmth, happiness, and love. Always remember that I love you both and I believe in you. Goodbye. She left. Both Naruto and Kurama watched with teary eyes as Devi left the mortal realm as a free soul and went to the afterlife to be with her family and the one she loves. Naruto and Kurama are again alone, but this time they have each other, and soon they will have more. Now that Naruto has freed both of his family, it was time to bring his remaining family together and rebuild their home, but that can wait a few more days because Naruto doesn't have the heart to do anything now that Devi has left. He thought he could handle her leaving, but it was just too hard to think that she is no longer here. He looked at the sword that was given to him as a gift and left it with Kurama. Without speaking a word, he went back to Konoha through the Uzumaki shrine. Kurama looked at the retreating form of Naruto and didn't stop him. He too needed some alone time now that his sister has left him again, but this time he will not leave Uzushio and Uzumaki again. This time he helps however he can whenever Naruto needs his help, but he is just waiting to see what Naruto decides to do now that Devi is gone. 1 week later, Uzushio. It has been a week since Devi has left them. To say she left sounds a little harsh, like she abandoned them, which is not the case. A week since she moved to a new word. That sounds much better. Naruto mused these thoughts as he laid on top of Kurama. His sword lay beside him. After he left Uzushio a week ago, he locked himself inside his apartment and cried until sleep took over him. He hasn't gone to the academy, hasn't trained, or even visited Kurama. He was sad that she is gone now, but also happy to think that she will be with her family enjoying the time she has missed, and it made Naruto smile. Naruto needed to do many things now that Devi is gone, and nothing will be accomplished if he just sulks inside his apartment. Devi will be very disappointed to find out that all he did after she left was cry and act like a crybaby. So the first thing he did after a week spent inside his apartment was to visit Kurama and see how he was doing, which was much better than he anticipated. When asked, his simple answer was that yes, he is sad that she is gone now, but much happy for her, and that also helped Naruto cope with her sudden loss. Naruto never lost anyone because he didn't have anyone to lose. His parents died even before he could understand what parents are. But Devi is the first loss he felt, and it is not easy to be comfortable with her absence, but with the help of Kurama and his wise words, he is feeling much better. He will always miss her, that is for sure, but he will not let it get in the way of his goals and dreams, because that is exactly what she would want if she was here. And now Naruto is thinking what to do next. For the previous year or two, all of his time went into either training or thinking how to free these two, and now that has been accomplished, the next thing he want to do is rebuild Uzushio and find his family, but he doesn't know how to do any of those things, and so he came to the only knowledge person he knows, Kurama. Kurama, now that Devi is free and you're outside free, we can move to the next important thing, which is to rebuild our home and bring our family back. But how will we accomplish these goals? I have no idea what to do next, and it is very frustrating. Please help. Kurama listened to the ramblings of the child laid on top of him. He has asked some genuine questions, but to the wrong person. If he wants to know about chakra or how to destroy things, then Kurama is you guy, but things like rebuilding villages and searching lost people are not his cup of tea, but he is not a bit troubled by this, because Naruto already has the answers to these questions. All he needs is someone reminding him of those answers, because he is dense that way. You already have the answers to both of those questions, and so why are you so troubled over this? Kurama answered, and that left Naruto even more confused. He voiced his confusion, to which Kurama replied, "What are the things you need to rebuild Uzushio?" Kurama asked him. Naruto didn't reply immediately but thought about it. He needs to rebuild Uzushio. He thought hard for a few minutes before answering to the best of his knowledge. "I need money to build and buy things for my village. I need to construct various buildings for things like homes, academies, markets, etc., etc. I will also need to protect against all those who will try to harm my village." He replied. He has studied economics and construction in the hopes of one day using those skills to rebuild Uzushio. He is already training to be a shinobi to protect his home, and those three things are the most important things to rebuild Uzushio. Kurama listened to the answers and thought they were satisfactory, but there is still the most important thing missing, and that's why he is here to help and guide Naruto, because although special, he is still a child, and a child needs an elder to guide them. You are correct. These are the three things you need to rebuild Uzushio, but you forget the most important thing. Kurama stopped to stand up, which caused Naruto to jump from his top to stand in front of him. Kurama said he missed the most important thing, and what would that be? Instead of thinking for an answer, he waited for Kurama to explain. Kurama took a deep breath before starting speaking again. People, Naruto, you need people. As a shinobi, you can earn money by doing missions or earning through collecting bounty, but that won't be enough. What will be the meaning of different constructions if there are no people using them? And what will you do to protect those empty homes? You need people who will help you earn more money to rebuild your home. You need people who will help you protect not only your, but their home as well. Before rebuilding Yuzushio, you need to find it, because Yuzushio is not a place, but it's people, and you cannot do everything alone, as Devi used to say. The most important thing you need to rebuild Yuzushio is your family, the Uzumaki clan, which is scattered throughout the elemental nations. Naruto listened to every word that Kurama had said, and it made much more sense than what he said. No one can do everything by themselves, and that's why they have friends and family to help them, and that's what Naruto needs. The sooner he finds the Uzumaki, the sooner he can rebuild his home. Finally, he understood what he needed to do next, and as soon as that realization occurred to him, the mark on his arm vibrated with acceptance. He brought his arm and looked at the now fully colored symbol of his clan humming with power on the palm of his hand. Ever since he has freed both Kurama and Devi, the mark has found him worthy of protecting and rebuilding Yuzushio, and it gained his full colors. Soon he thought he would soon be with his family, and they would together rebuild Yuzushio. That's why you're the best, Kurama. Thanks for clearing my confusion. I know now that before doing anything I need to find the lost Uzumaki, and I know what to do to find them. You just wait and see, it won't be much wait before we all come back together. And with that, he said his goodbye to Kurama and returned to Konoha. He needs to do some planning for his next steps. Arning, monster inside. Perhaps he should have taken it down the first time he saw it, but Naruto has barred him from even touching the sign. According to him, it's a reminder of what he meant to the village, and he couldn't fault the boy because this is exactly what he meant to the village, despite his hope that they would see the truth, but some wishes never come true. His companion doesn't give a reaction seeing the sign, but his experienced eyes can see the discomfort in his body language. At least he also thought that this is wrong on every level. Hiruzen has come to Naruto's apartment to talk to Kakashi Hitaki about things far more important than the paperwork waiting for him in the office. When will the day come when he will finally be free of his duties and paperwork, but seeing the current atmosphere around the village, perhaps only his death will free him of his responsibility towards his village. If only Minato were alive, then the village could have avoided so many unfortunate things that occurred during his reign. Maybe if he was alive, then Uchiha would still have been patrolling the village like they used to do. Orochimaru would have been captured or killed by now, instead of letting him have the freedom to torment others while he just watched. If Minato was still alive, maybe Naruto would have been treated as the hero he is, and he would still be loyal to the village. But this is just wishful thinking, and he needed to focus on the present and make sure the future is better than the past. Hiruzen's second reign as Hokage is surrounded by just maybes. He can accept it truly inside his heart that he has failed as Hokage and the village suffered as a result. Why was he still Hokage after so many failures? Because there is no one to take the mantle from him, and this village still loves him enough to accept his leadership as bad as it might have been. His companion coughed a little, and he remembered where he was. He gathered his thoughts before opening the gate with his spare key and entered Naruto's apartment. It was neat and tidy as he remembered from his last visit. When was the last time he visited Naruto? Maybe 6 months ago. Usually the boy visited him in his office to collect his monthly allowance and sometimes to ask about things he needed help with, but that was the end of their relationship, a necessary monthly visit. Naruto has slowly built a distance between them, and Hiruzen hasn't pushed it. He has truly and utterly failed Naruto, and he couldn't even face the child always making excuses that the village needs him more, but he knows the truth. It was a relief to meet Naruto so little. Although Naruto never said anything to him, he can see the hurt and accusations behind those blue eyes that reminded him of his successor, and it brings back all the memories Hiruzen has suppressed every time he meets the boy. So he was ashamed to not have pushed for a more deep relationship between him and the boy. The apartment was a single-bedroom apartment. It was far more clean than what a 13-year-old apartment was supposed to look, but also much more bare than that of a 13-year-old. The apartment only has all the necessary things needed to survive, and not an extra furniture or accessory. Not even a single painting is hanging from the wall except the plants by the window, which gives the impression that at least someone is living there. He motioned for his companion to survey the apartment. The bed was tidy and the bed sheets were clean. The kitchen equipment was working flawlessly and the fridge was filled with fresh ingredients and milk. There was a sofa and a reading table in the living room with a TV set. All of the things that he bought for Naruto were there, and not a single thing that he bought for himself. How can a boy be able to live like that? But again, when the whole village refused to sell you anything and you have to use the hinge to transform yourself into someone else just to buy some fresh vegetables and fruits to eat in your own village, sums it up pretty well. And wasn't this just what explains everything? A boy of 9 years old has figured out that his very existence is not accepted by his home, so he has to change himself into someone else just to buy something. How did the situation around Naruto turn so grave, and how did he allow such a thing? Sometimes he thinks he might be under the control of some enemy to have made such decisions, but no matter how much regret he feels for what has happened in this village, nothing will change the present, and all he could hope for a better future, and that is why he was here. For the future. This isn't what I imagined his apartment would look like, Lord Third. Kakashi spoke, his one uncovered eye wandering around the apartment as he inspected everything. He has been very much surprised when the Hokage has called him to discuss his new team. He never wanted to be a Jonin sensei. He knows himself and his limits, and he has again and again assured the Hokage that will only fail in this role like he has failed in all of the other roles in his life. Kakashi was better when he was an Umbu. Life was simple for him, then do your mission, receive your payment, and do another mission. It was his much favorable lifestyle compared to being Jonin sensei. When he was an Umbu, everyone knew him as Agent Hound, and no one saw Kakashi. No one got attached to him, and so no one died. It was much better than having the responsibility to train and protect 3 new Genins, but the Hokage has been adamant in his decision to make him a Jonin sensei. But so far, none of the teams has passed his test, and he has no hope for this team either. The Hokage has informed him of his decision for who is going to be his team yesterday when he gave him their files, and hasn't budged an inch despite his various protests. Maybe he should have threatened to burn all of Hiruzen's secret Ica collection, but as a fellow fan, he didn't have the heart to even utter such words. After visiting the rooms of 2 of his other future students, he was here in the apartment of the final member of Team Kakashi, Naruto Uzumaki. According to the file that the Hokage has given him about Naruto, he was once a dead last student scoring poorly in every subject at the academy, but suddenly he improved so much that now both Sasuke and Naruto are the top students of their class. According to the academy reports, during the initial years Naruto was a loud boy, always playing pranks, disturbing classes, and not concentrating in his studies, while once he turned 9 years old, a 180-degree turn occurred in his academic life. While once a loud and social student turned into a silent and focused student who slowly improved all parts of his education and became the top student. Naruto doesn't talk to anyone from the academy and has no friends or social life at all. His daily life is only going to the academy and training, and other than that, visiting the ramen shop named Ichiraka Ramen at least once a day without skipping, and go to the gravesite memorial were the only things he did apart from training. Kakashi himself has seen the boy once or twice standing in front of the memorial stone, holding fresh flowers in his hands, but he never approached the boy. The ghost of the past still hounds Kakashi. He doesn't think he has a right to approach Naruto in hopes of having any kind of relationship with him. Naruto's file had much more information compared to the other 2 students he's going to have, and maybe that is because of his special condition. The council has suggested that he be put under Kakashi Hitaki and Sasuke Uchiha, being his teammate. They didn't care who the 3rd member was, and he could see the reasoning behind such a decision. Kakashi was the only loyal Sharingan user that Konoha has, and Sasuke has the potential to awaken his own Sharingan in the future if he's anything like how his brother was. And with 2 Sharingan users on the same team as Naruto, would have given the village security that if any mishaps happen in the future, this team will be able to handle it. After all, everyone knows that the Sharingan can control the beast. Kakashi hated that he could see the logic behind such a decision. No one wants a repeat of what happened 13 years ago and wants to take measures to prevent any accident, and right now, the best possible team for Naruto is the one chosen for him. According to the reports, Naruto has more chakra than anyone in this village, and as a ninjutsu expert, Kakashi is an ideal teacher for such a student, and Sasuke Uchiha, another Uchiha prodigy, is said to only have a positive relationship with Naruto. Sasuke and Naruto are training partners and friends, if you can call them that. They didn't talk to each other while in the academy, but they always sat together. As far as Iraka's report to be trusted, they have created a relationship that benefits both of them and are happy to leave it at that. Kakashi halted his thoughts for a moment as he saw the Hokage turning around to look at him. I agree. Seeing this, you wouldn't guess that a child is living here. This place doesn't have that presence here. It just gives the vibe of coldness and emptiness. I suppose that is to be expected after all who can live like the way Naruto has lived and still be able to be happy and smiling. The Hokage replied to his previous thoughts. He was right. The place is clean and tidy, but it doesn't give off the feeling that someone is living here. Ever since Kakashi quit Umbu, he has made sure to be as away as possible from Naruto, and even as an Umbu, he was forced to watch over the boy as his Umbu guard when he needed a light mission, according to his medical reports. It is not like Kakashi hates Naruto. It's just that seeing the boy reminds him of every person he lost, and Kakashi is afraid that if he forms any connection with Naruto, he will lose him too. Every person that has gotten close to Kakashi is dead, and so he decided to stay as far away from Naruto as possible. But Kakashi knows how the village views the boy and treats him. It doesn't even surprise Kakashi that Naruto has no friends after all who would want to befriend the demon, who would even sell the demon so that he could own things a 13 years old should have. The Hokage must have sensed his discomfort because he asked him to take a seat. Naruto was still in the academy for his graduation test, and the Hokage personally wanted to visit his apartment with him because he had something important to talk about with her. Kakashi took the seat on the dining table present in the kitchen and waited for the Hokage to speak. I know you have many questions plaguing you regarding your team and why I insisted for you to visit Naruto's apartment with me. It is natural to question things, but I assure you completely that this decision was not taken in haste. The Hokage started addressing his inner thoughts, and she intently listened to his every word. I have made a decision I should have made a long time ago, but there was no one I could trust the future of this village with, and there was so much to do, but now this provides me the perfect opportunity to hit two targets with one arrow. This conversation right now is taking a dangerous turn for Kakashi. He has enough experience under his belt to know what the third wanted and what Kakashi couldn't give him. To be entrusted with the future of the village can only mean one thing, and if he wants one of his students to have that responsibility, then Kakashi has no problem with it. But if his words have the same meaning as what he thought they have, then he has to look for another candidate, because Kakashi is not going anywhere near that office. With a laugh, the Hokage continued. No need to be so alert, Kakashi. I have been Hokage for a long time, and during this time, I have made decisions both good and bad for the village. But when I gave my hat to Minato, I never thought I would be back in this office ever again. Those who knew Minato knew that he was going to be the best Hokage this village has ever seen, but we were not fortunate enough to see his reign for long. Kakashi doesn't need anyone to tell him how great a leader Minato-sensei was. If he was alive today, the village would have been in much better condition for sure. Kakashi has seen for himself how good a person he was. He had been there for Kakashi whether Kakashi needed him or not, and look at how Kakashi repaid him by abandoning his only child. Instead of a war-hardened shinobi, Hiruzen only saw a lonely child in front of him. Kakashi has suffered so much, and yet he is still here offering his services for the village he loves. Knowing why his father killed himself, anyone would have resented Konoha, but Kakashi has always been a loyal shinobi. Hiruzen understands the troubles that Kakashi has to struggle with, and that's why he's been adamant about him having a team of his own. Hiruzen knew from his own experience that it would only help Kakashi fight his own demons. This team is going to be either the best decision Hiruzen has made or the worst. But Hiruzen will bet everything he has on Team Kakashi. Konoha's future is going to be shaped by this team. Whether it be a good future or bad is yet to be seen. Naruto has been alone for all of his life, and I am to blame for that. I believe in the people of Konoha too much, and Naruto had to pay for my foolishness. Not only that, to this day, I have not told Naruto about his parents or about the Nine Tails, but I suspect that he knows about the latter since he was 9. Hiruzen's eyes were filled with shame as he spoke. I don't know what possessed me to keep this a secret from the boy, but I made those decisions, and now I have to live with the consequences. Hiruzen continued. Kakashi doesn't want to say this out loud, but the third has really made a blunder with Naruto. How can he expect that these villagers will accept Naruto so easily? Even Kushina has to face some difficulties because she was a Jinchuriki. Doesn't he know how Jinchurikis are treated in other villages? Hiruzen took a deep breath and looked Kakashi straight in his one eye before speaking. I hope that by hiding the truth, Naruto will be able to have a normal childhood. I hope that by placing the gag, older children will not inherit the hatred from their parents and befriend Naruto. But my hopes have been crushed, and as such, Naruto has to suffer through a lonely and hate-filled childhood. The life that Naruto has lived will leave anyone with lasting damage, and the same can be said about Naruto. There is no mental damage or physical damage done to him, as far as we know, but a more major damage has already been done, and we can do now is damage control. Kakashi looked at Hiruzen, and instead of seeing a village leader, he saw an old man who had so much to bear on his shoulders. He looked at those tired eyes and wrinkled face. He looked at his small frame and the tiredness oozing from his body. This is a man forced to bear the mantle much heavier than his head. Kakashi felt sorry for him. The situation with Naruto is weighing heavily on his heart, and he is truly hurt with the way things have turned out. At the end of the day, Kakashi could never truly hate Hiruzen despite his many blunders. The old man really loved the village and wanted everyone to be happy. Naruto has no family in this village. The only person you can call his friend is Sasuke. Everyone needs an anchor in their life, Kakashi. Something to love, something to fight for. Naruto has none in Konoha, but still he trains like his life depends on it. Instead of working to gain their acknowledgement like he did as a child, Naruto has accepted that he has no place in Konoha. We have not done anything to change his mind. Tell me, Kakashi, why would Naruto stay in Konoha when he doesn't love it? Why would Naruto stay in Konoha when he has no family or friends here? Why would Naruto stay in Konoha when everyone around him either hates him or ignores him? Why indeed? Kakashi thought, but came up with no answers. Seeing his blank look, the third continued to speak. There are only two reasons. Either the child is not strong enough to leave the village, or he is waiting for something or someone. I believe in Naruto's case, both the reasons are valid. Hiruzen looked outside the window. The atmosphere around the village was warm and sunny, but he could see the dark clouds in the future that threatened to drown Konoha in an endless darkness. Hiruzen needs to get things in order before they spiral out of control. He returned his gaze to Kakashi before continuing. Naruto has something in his mind, a goal that he wants to achieve, and that's why he works so hard. There is something the boy wants to achieve, and that is the reason behind his sudden change in behavior. But Naruto also knows he is strong enough to achieve that goal at his current condition. This is the reason he has stayed in Konoha. Konoha provides him with the opportunity to train and gain power while also not have to worry about watching your back at every moment. Naruto understands that he won't be able to run from Konoha forever at his current strength, and running away will only put a target on his head, so he has decided to stay here because he won't be weak forever. He is just waiting for the right time. I assure you, Kakashi, I have talked with the boy and have observed him enough to know a day will come when Naruto will be one of the most powerful shinobi the Hidden Leaf has produced, and when that day comes, no wall will be high enough to stop him. Kakashi listened to every word the third had spoken with his full attention. The situation around Naruto is pretty complex. The third has full confidence that Naruto will leave the village one day, but that shouldn't surprise anyone. What he hoped to achieve through this team is still a mystery. Did he think Kakashi will be able to give Naruto the anchor he needs so that he remains a leaf ninja? If he did, then he don't know Kakashi as well as he thought. The third spoke again like he was reading his mind. Times are changing, Kakashi. I can feel the winds changing. Not long ago, Cloud was breathing on our necks to start a war, which we avoided, but I don't think the next time we'll be lucky. Reports have come that Orochimaru has founded a hidden village in Rice Country, and for the past year, he has been recruiting for his ranks. Cloud and Stone both are strengthening their armies since the last war ended while we were enjoying peace. I have been foolish enough to think that this will last, but some recent thoughts have changed my mind. Konoha needs to be ready to face the future because it will be a difficult one. If war were to break out, the current Konoha will be crushed by its enemies. My tenure has been only filled with failure, but before I go, I at least want to prepare Konoha for the future. But that is the only thing I can do. Prepare the leaf, but the village needs a new leader to lead them into the future. A war is coming, Kakashi, and we need someone strong enough to strengthen the village. Kakashi knew this was coming. From the moment this conversation started, he knew where this was heading. Why can't the third just leave him alone? Why not choose one of your students? He tried to save himself. Strong, yes, but they are not what this village deserves. Both of them are so lost in their grief that they can no longer see the truth. People suffer, Kakashi. Everyone has their own demons to fight, and it is not wrong to grieve, but you also have to keep moving forward, otherwise you'll be stuck. If the village has to move forward, it needs a leader who can look forward. You have suffered much more than many in this village, and yet you have always been available for us. No one is better for this position than you. You are young in power. Your name is known throughout the elemental nations. There is no better candidate than you. You don't have to answer me now. Take your time, but remember that I won't always be there, and without a successor, the Hokage seat might go to someone we never want even near the Hokage office. As to why I have chosen this team for you, both Naruto and Sasuke have their own demons to fight, and both are major flight risks. From my own experience, I can tell you that the bonds created in your Genin team always stays with you no matter the circumstances. Hard times will come, Kakashi, and we will have to make hard decisions. I don't want the future to be burdened with things we can solve today. Naruto and Sasuke both have reasons not only to leave this village and declare Konoha as their enemy, but if you became their teacher and then Hokage, then at least the damage would be minimized. With Sasuke, I'm not sure, but with Naruto, I am confident that he will leave and we won't be able to stop him. This team gives us the chance to at least show him that not everyone is an enemy, that there are people in Konoha who care for him. It won't all fall on you. I have made some plans to minimize the damage that we have caused. In 6 months, Konoha will hold the Chunin exams, and I want Team Kakashi to participate in the examinations. If they reach the final rounds of the exams, I will announce Naruto's parentage to the world. Just listening to all this makes Kakashi go on a trip to the elemental nations. Whose idea it was to wake up today? He understands everything the third is saying, but one thing doesn't make sense. I understand the situation with Naruto, but why would Sasuke turn on the leaf? He knows the Uchiha wants to avenge his clan, and if someone offered him power to do so, there is no doubt in Kakashi's mind that he will abandon the leaf, but the third seems assured that there is a reason that will make Sasuke turn on the leaf. Hiruzen got up from his chair and reached into his robe to present a scroll to Kakashi. This scroll contains everything you need to know. I don't want you to be ignorant of the things the leaf has done to preserve its peace. Once you read it, make sure to destroy the scroll. The information here is an S-rank secret, so you know how to treat it. Kakashi doesn't want the scroll, but his curiosity to learn the secrets of the leaf won, and he took the scroll from the Hokage's hand. Lord Third, do you think by revealing his parentage might change the opinion of the villagers? Kakashi asked with skepticism. He doesn't think it will be this easy to change Leaf's behavior towards Naruto. Only revealing his parentage won't do anything. Maybe some will change, but the majority will remain the same. What matters is how we reveal the information and how we use it. Naruto has no desire to prove himself to the Leaf, but he will sure to do his best while on the missions. We just have to make sure that his achievements in the field are advertised in a way that people see a Leaf shinobi in him instead of a demon host. Remember, Kakashi knowledge is power. Kakashi got up from his own chair and again looked at the scroll that the third had given him. Knowledge is power, and the third is trusting him. Probably one of Konoha's most guarded secrets. Times are going to change, and Kakashi fears that the world will go back to the time of the Third War.